Hi, everybody. This is Adobe Live. I am Amy Hood.
I'm Jen Hood.
My better half.
I am your better half. See, she concedes. It took a while, but I finally wore her down.
That's why you're the good Hood on Instagram, and I'm, what am I?
You're Amy just Hoodlum. Amy Hoodlum.
I'm not even the bad Hood.
But
Amy
yeah.
Hoodlum.
Hey, everybody.
Hi. We're so glad to be here. This is our second time on Adobe Live, and this time we're hostless. They asked us to host ourselves. It feels a little bit like Napoleon Bonaparte crowning himself king, but we're gonna lean into it. We're gonna lean into it. I'm hosting Jen. And what are we doing today, Jen?
Today we're going to be designing a logo, but first we have to start off with our research, our discovery. We're gonna go through our proposal deck so that you guys know like how we even land our work, which I think is super important. And then tomorrow we'll go through like building out more of the logo proof. We'll get feedback from the client, P.S. it's a real client. And then the next days we're gonna work on packaging and brand guidelines. Pretty much as we can fit in, we will try and tell you. So it's gonna be
like
exciting.
that you said it was a real client, like those commercials where they're like, these are real people, not actors.
Right.
Aren't actors real people?
Actors are real people too, you guys.
I'm here to stick up for the actors.
In the chat, we got some friends. Zach Wilkinson, hey.
Ooh,
what
Alex
up?
Lazarus from Twitch. Herson Rodriguez, hey. Orange County represent. We're from Orange County, California.
Thank you for the vote of confidence, Miko Amo. You said you can do it, girls, and I appreciate that.
I need that.
I need a lot of validation.
Zach Wilkinson, I've owed you an email for about a month. It's coming.
Bob Ewing is in the house. If you want to follow someone who's amazing at lettering and see the process, follow Bob Ewing. He's
So good.
incredible.
He's
so
the best.
Custom lettering, like amazing. Ben Stafford's here. Alex Lazarus. Yeah, tons of great people from fun
so many
places.
good people.
Yes.
So if you see us looking off over here, we're not just daydreaming, we're watching the chat because we want to talk to you guys. If you guys have any questions, guys and gals have any questions about what we're doing or about process or anything, just let us know and we'd love to answer it. It'd be so fun. So first, let's see. I guess we should go over the Daily Creative Challenge, Paco. Does that sound good?
Yeah, Photoshop Daily
Okay,
Creative Challenge.
so the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, we'll be doing that today and tomorrow. You can find details for that by clicking right above the chat. There's a challenge tab. And today's challenge for Tuesday, starting with a Photoshop file, you're going to create a winter-inspired image by manipulating layers with blend modes. So you can find details all above the chat in that little tab. And we'll review these challenge submissions at around the 1:35-minute mark in the segment. So if anybody has any more questions, you can mention it in the chat and probably Gus will help you out. So that's gonna be fun. And yeah, day 2, we're gonna be, day 3 we'll be doing portfolio reviews, which is super fun. I always love doing those are super fun. So submit your portfolios for a chance to be reviewed. Yeah, it's gonna be good. So I guess we should say a little bit about ourselves. We've done this once before. You might have seen us on Adobe Live last time. We were with Kathleen, who is the pro host. I love her
She's
so
amazing.
much.
Big shoes to fill.
I know. Everyone at Adobe is so nice. Like,
Yes, P.S. Like the coolest people. They would never say it because I mean that would be vain. But I'll say it. This team is like amazing. Ever since we've been here, it's been just like so nice. And I know that using the products has completely changed like our lives as far as like being designers. We couldn't do what we do without them. So huge thanks to them for sure.
Yeah. Huge thanks for all the free fonts on Adobe. What is it?
Adobe Fonts, formerly known as the artist formerly known as Typekit.
Yes, the artist formerly known as Typekit. So today we're going to be doing logo design mainly.
Which is what we're known for. Like, tell them a little bit about us. Like, you know. Yeah.
So we're Hoodzpah. Me and Jen, we work under the moniker Hoodzpah, and we have a small team. We're based out of Orange County, California, which San Francisco is here. We're all the way down here. It's almost like a different state, really. I think of it. Southern California versus Northern California, 2 different worlds. We've been doing design for ourselves under Hoodzpah now for almost 9 years in April, Jen.
Yeah.
Yes. We mainly focus on branding, identity. We do some illustration. We've worked with some really awesome clients over the years. You might know a few: Red Bull, 20th Century Fox.
If you pick up the latest Airbnb magazine, you can see Amy did a ton of custom like type and headline treatments for them. So check that out.
Been really fun.
Should we open up our website? Go through like one of the portfolio posts. We'll just give you guys an idea if you've never heard of us. You're like, who are these people? Why are they? Do they even matter? Well, you can see at least one of our portfolio posts here. We still might not matter to you. It's all relevant, to be honest.
Relative.
Eric Sue says Orange County is so clean and organized. It is true. Orange County,
we
there's
get a
tons
bad
of
rap.
parking.
We get a bad rap.
planned. It's really pretty awesome.
But LA is great, but we have wider streets, more parking, lower prices. I love Orange County. So here's some of our work. I guess we'll just click into a project and you want to talk them through it?
Sure.
Let's go through, should we do Greatest Showman logos?
Sure. So we've worked with 20th Century Fox. We do a lot of logo concept exploration with them. The logos don't always get used, but the idea is we work with their art director there to just explore potentials for where it could go, and then they present it to all the various people that have to sign off on it, and then it either gets passed or it doesn't. But either way, it's really fun to just imagine what things could be. Also, I don't know why our logo is missing at the
I
top.
know, why is there a question mark?
Things happen.
Also, shout out to Neri Rivas, who is an
the art
amazing
director
designer.
there.
Art
So
director
anyways,
at
this
20th
was all
Century Fox.
custom lettering that we worked on for that. It didn't end up getting picked in the end, but it was super fun to work on. And anything that gets near Hugh Jackman's face, I mean, look at these in relation to that photo.
Right.
I'm very excited. These were some other concepts that we tried that didn't get picked. But yeah, you don't win them all, that's fine. I think
Yeah.
sometimes the process is exciting enough and they still let us share about it, which is cool. So
Super cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we've done about 4 different projects with 20th Century, and we have to wait till the movie's released to be able to share them. So it's always like 2 years later, and then I forget about it. But anyways,
But that whole client just was built out of just a relationship on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing how just community and just making friends and just kind of investing in people can really come back. Like, we never thought we would do movie logos.
Yeah,
That
no.
was like a pipe dream.
Right.
And here we are, and it's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
invest in your community. Like what you're doing here, hanging out in Adobe Live chat, like that's valuable.
these things can make a real big difference in your career ongoing, for sure.
Sure.
Okay, so that's one of the portfolio examples.
So, should we go to your screen and you can open up?
Yeah, I'll kind of walk you guys through who the client is today. So today, we're going to be actually rebranding a real client that we're actually working with, so this is exciting. So the client's called Eterneva, and they actually turn cremated remains into diamonds. It's a fascinating business model. I've never heard of this before in my life. It's a cremation diamond. So this is their website right now and their logo right now. So we're actually going to be doing a rebrand. So I think the most impressive thing about these people is this is a very interesting industry. It's something that a lot of people haven't heard of, so there's a lot of trepidation here. And so here, brand identity becomes even more important, I think, than for maybe like a restaurant or a place where you already have a lot of understanding of what your expectations are, what the delivering, what you're gonna get out of it. Whereas with this, you have to build so much trust, so much, you have to communicate so much in order to get people to trust you, to send their loved ones' remains to you, to turn it into a diamond. I mean, that's
Totally.
like, you're asking a lot of them.
Well, remember when we got the email initially? When the email came in for the project, we were like, is this real?
Like, are they scamming us?
We couldn't tell if it was a joke or not, only because we'd never heard of it before. So
Right.
even just understanding that hiccup for our understanding process, we were really aware of how important the brand appearance and imagery and everything had to be
Right.
to the client.
So this is what they're doing now. I mean, you know, I'm actually really impressed. They just started, I think, a year and a half ago or something crazy. They've already been featured on Inc. 30 Under 30 because the CEO, or the girl who started it, she's, I think, 29. She's amazing. Adele Archer. So cool to work with, and then Garrett's Oscar is also with her, and they work together, and they're both just incredible people who
Speaking
really...
of awesome people, Doc Reed said, a wise person once shared, people are life's crazy glue. And that's so true. Thanks, Doc Reed,
I said
in the
that.
chat. Did you say
I said that, yeah.
Doc Reed quoting the greats, AKA Jennifer Hud.
Yes. But anyways, so these people have an amazing customer experience, which is really important. Their experience once you get the box is really incredible. They pretty much mail you a box. You open it up and it has a video in the box that
It's
plays.
really cool.
And they give you the tin to put the ashes into. They give you little CZ cubic zirconia diamonds to show you the size references so you can order.
So
and
like
this
a
is
1
all
carat, 3/4 carat.
Yeah, this is all before you even order. This is their welcome kit. So they've really understood how important it is to create a connection and to build trust.
And
now,
invest in the client.
Right, now we have to do that with their brand identity. So that's what we're going to be working on for them. So I'm gonna show you first what we sent to them to even land the job because
That's the hardest part, right? Is like, how do you get the clients? It's like, even if you have the skills, you need the clients to, you know.
yeah. You gotta get paid, let's be real.
gotta get
okay, we got Netflix to pay for, we've got food, we've got In-N-Out, we have needs. So anyways, this is the quote deck that we send out, which PS, we just launched a product on our site that you can buy the template for the proposal decks that we use. So if you've been like having a hard time figuring out how to send your quotes and your pricing in a way that really communicates values, then check it out, because we have experienced an incredible change in how many projects and clients we land after we built this quote deck. Because we're not just giving them a price on a blank page with a few attached images of our work. We're actually like walking them through the process, communicating value, and then we ask them for the money at the end. So at the beginning of our quote decks, we always like to use imagery that relates to the client to show them this is custom for you. This proposal is custom for you. So I always say who's prepared for, what the project is.
And where did you build this deck in?
InDesign, baby. So
I love InDesign.
Yeah.
People don't, InDesign is one of those programs that's really hard to use at first. It feels like less intuitive maybe than Photoshop or Illustrator, but once you get the hang of it, it streamlines your process so much if you're working on multi-page documents.
It's incredible.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
Especially if you want a template that you can then save as and then rework for people over and over again. Love it. So at the bottom of our, I don't know if you can see, but anyways, quote expires. We always have a little expiration down here.
I have to lean out of the way.
There we go. So that
Thanks,
if people come back to us later and still want to honor this quote price, if they come back to us after this date, we might have the opportunity to be like, actually our price has changed since then, you know? Or now we're booked up, we can't take it on anymore. So yeah.
Also, shout out to Hallie Hauer in the chat. She said, grabbing my popcorn, pen, and paper, because you guys are an awesome resource. Girl, thank you. Wait, Hallie, girl, guy, what's your pronoun of choice? We'd love to know. And also, welcome to everybody in the chat. Eric Sue, Tariq Kaya, Tim Mobist. We're happy to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Yes. So the first page of our quote deck, we just introduced who we are. A lot of times when people are asking you to do a project for them, they're getting quotes from a lot of different agencies, and maybe the person who's asking you for the quote isn't the one that actually gets to sign off on who actually wins the bid. So when I send this quote deck to them, I want to make sure that no matter who this deck gets passed along to in their company, they're going to know who we are, they're going to know a little bit about us, and they're going to have all the context they need to make the decision despite what anyone else has filled them in or not filled them in about. So we introduce ourselves really briefly, we do a little bit of bragging down here. Somehow we got good reviews on Brand New. It was a miracle. We've also been totally skewered on there, so.
Yeah. It just goes to show that you have to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get some bad feedback, you'll get some good feedback.
Totally. So then the next page will kind of put their mind at ease by saying, hey, we've done this before, don't worry, you can trust us. These are some clients we've worked with before. We'll kind of show some of the work as we're going through the deck.
And Ashley Eunice had a question about this client. She said, do people actually propose with ashes rings?
So no, it's not for proposals. This is for just remembrance. This is just another way. It's pretty much an alternative to just keeping your loved one in an urn on, your mantle.
Or doing like a burial, which is, more traditional in America for us.
Right. So for this, it'd be like, do you want to keep them close and have them in a beautiful piece of jewelry to remember them constantly? That's the idea.
Right.
Yeah. So then on
I think they're a lot of what they're trying to do is change the narrative on
how we perceive death and how we grieve and how we deal with death.
Right.
Like, I'll show you guys in the discovery deck we make, but pretty much they want to like change the whole narrative of how people perceive like losing someone, and they want it to more seem like, hey, like remember them, and they still live on in a different way in our memories and in how we celebrate them.
Right. And Zach kind of mentioned in chat, sort of like a memento mori, sort of like that, like remembering them, but in a really positive way. Yeah. All of their whole process of them working with their clients is all very positive, like remembering the good things, all that kind of thing. So it's a memorial.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
And somebody asked, what size do you use for your quote decks?
So for my quote decks, I've seen a lot of quote and proposal decks that are still letter size, but it makes no sense. Everyone's viewing things on their screens now, on their laptops. Yep. So for me, as long as it's 16:9 ratio, I'm cool with it. So usually I'll just build it to 1600:900 or some kind of like, iteration of that perspective. Yeah. So now we're onto the page of the quote deck where we are going to show them who our team is.
Hey, so look at those good-looking people.
Look how grumpy we look.
We do look very serious.
Or Amy and me.
Yeah.
Arturo and Brittany look like just beautiful people.
They look great.
But we want them to know like who we are. We want to put a face to it. That way that they feel like they can trust us. They feel like, oh, I understand who these people are. And we usually put a little bit of fun information about us. Like Amy drives a 1972 Mercedes. She loves In-N-Out. Stuff that humanizes us. So it's not all about like work and like we hustle hard and we don't sleep until you're happy with your proof. Like, I sleep. I only answer emails 9 to 5.
And I think that really helps you attract the kind of clients that you want to get. So if you don't want clients bugging you on weekends or like texting you, blowing up your phone, I think it's really important to state those things.
Yeah,
like,
and set a tone.
You know, we live for the weekend, things like that.
Yeah. Okay, so then next, after we show them who we are, we want to show them relevant portfolio work to what they're asking us to do. That way they feel comfortable, like that we've done this before, showing our expertise. We'll also list our core services. That way they know that even though they only asked us for brand identity, I want them to know we do all these things and kind of like spell it out for them so that they know, oh my gosh, we can ask them to do X, Y, and Z too. This is a great idea.
Right, so maybe they came to you for logo design, but they didn't know you can also do proposal decks or, you know, collateral, signage, websites.
Cool. Judson says it's all about the hustle. Judson hustles so hard. He's so good. Judson Collier, look him up.
Nashville's finest.
Nashville's finest. Also, Judson, you deleted all your Instagram photos. I tried to refer you the other day, and I was like, where did all his Instagram photos go?
We're trying to put the pieces together. I like to do an Instagram, like a social media, like a private investigator, like try to figure out what's happened in someone's life when things happen, you know? Judson, tell us what happened. What's the change?
Okay, so next in our proposal deck.
Shout out to Scott Snyder.
Hey.
Hi, Natalie Frank. Tom Schmidt.
Next in our proposal deck, we're going to show them relevant portfolio work.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you because Tom Schmidt in the chat is asking, what is the Chat and Win countdown? What is that? So eventually, after the countdown counts down to 0, we're at 12 minutes, we'll be doing a Chat and Win, and you can win this awesome prize, which is a notebook from Moo. And I don't care how many conferences you go to, if you went to every conference in the world and got a gift bag with a notebook every time, you wouldn't have enough notebooks. So you can win this in the Chat and Win. Basically, we'll say, go, you chat, we pick a winner. It's awesome.
We're gonna prompt you with a fun question, so I want you to be thinking about who would play you in the movie adaptation of your life, because that's gonna be the question for the Chat and Win, okay? So keep that in mind. Check it in IMDb, get your answers ready. Okay, so we're gonna show relevant portfolio work to our potential clients so that they know, oh my gosh, they do great stuff. I feel like I trust them more. I'm seeing more of their process.
Right, because sometimes when you send a pitch proposal to say like a marketing manager, they probably have a boss. They have to get it approved through too. So when you send the pitch deck, you're giving them everything that's on your website potentially in a kind of a honed-in version, and maybe even some work that you're not allowed to show on your website. And then when they show that to their boss, it's a lot easier for them to pitch it instead of having to pull up 3 different tabs with your website and your Dribble and your Behance and all these things.
Yeah. And then also, I'm showing them all the scope of everything we did in this project, so they're like, oh my gosh, these people, they get it.
Right.
They know what's up. So just a few words about what the goal of the project was and why it was important.
Short and sweet, though,
Short
right?
and sweet. And the thing is like, I've looked up a lot about proposals, and some people are like, oh, it should only be 2 pages. But then you look at their proposal, and it's like 2 8.5 by 11 letter pages with like 12-point copy, and the whole thing is
Jam-packed.
filled. I would never read that.
Never.
That would just stress me and spaz me out. Probably.
This is a Twitter generation. Like,
Yeah.
I like my information in nice, easy hunks, and I like to know exactly where I'm going to look and
Amy
get
likes
one
hunks.
takeaway. I like
Yes.
hunks.
So yeah, so that's why I'm pacing this. I'm not letting them just skip to the bottom of the long, Word doc straight to the price. I'm making them see the value first by pacing them through and kind of drawing them in with these little blurbs. So the next page in our proposal.
And wouldn't you say that a lot of what we're doing is trying to create value, right?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to show why you're worth the price tag instead of just saying, this is what it is, take it or leave it. You're saying, you're building it up. You're saying, we're going to do this and this and this, and you're getting them invested, you're getting them excited, and then when they get to the number, it's not sticker shock. They're like, oh, wow, that's totally worth it.
Yeah. So then we want to show them our process so that they know that they feel safe in our hands. Like, we've done this before. This is not our first rodeo. Like, this is how we're going to lead you through this process. Show a little bit of behind the scenes action from us working. And then we'll give them an estimated timeline. Hey, Corey, Andre from
Chris Crockett, shout out to OKC.
Chris Crockett,
Hey,
he's
Mick
so
and Carrie.
funny.
Yes, we want all the notebooks. Thank you to Moo, our awesome sponsor.
Yeah. Oh, Patrick Weber's in here. Hey, Pat.
Oh, hey! Oh my gosh, that's a way throwback to our Nashville days.
Nashville
we used to live
days.
in Nashville. It was good times, good times. Okay, back to the proposal deck.
Yeah. Prax crews, I feel you. Proposal decks are hard to make, but they're so important, and they just communicate value so much better. So I like to send people an estimated timeline because we realized that a lot of our time was being sucked up by just answering constant questions from potential clients before we even landed them. So we thought, what are the most common questions we get before we land a project? Let's put that all in the proposal deck so that they feel like we've thought of everything before they even have to ask it. And all they have to say is, yes, let's do this.
You're hired.
Yes, exactly. So, P.S. Everyone's saying they love the proposal deck. If you love it and you want it, we're selling it as a template because I know how hard it is to build these. So this is the project proposal that I'm going through, but we actually built it out even a little bit more for this template. It has InDesign and Keynote formats plus IDML files. I even exported it to PowerPoint, but I don't offer support on that. But yeah, it includes all these sections as well as a super extensive how-to and all that. So hoodzpahdesign.com, go to the shop and you can check it out.
And it saves you so much time. Oh man, it's worth it.
Yeah. So let's see, going back to our proposal. So I think it's important also in my time in this proposal to start managing their expectations too. If I tell them, hey, usually all of this is going to take, about a month and a half, I also want to let them know, but that depends on how fast you get me back your feedback. Because let's be honest, like, maybe me and you could do it in a month and a half if no one was bothering us. But
we have ESP. It's not fair.
We talk telepathically. We save a lot of time. But for the client, they might have a lot of people that need to sign off on rounds of revisions, things like that, which means that the longer it takes for them to get us feedback, the longer the timeline then moves along. So I've put this little asterisk in so that people know that this estimate of timeline is based around a 3-day turnaround of feedback. If feedback is delayed, timeline is delayed proportionately. So, yes. So that's that page. Now, after all that, now is where, Tim Frame's in here. Hey, what
and Peter
up?
Moody.
And Jay Dugan, cool.
So many good folks.
This is where we then outline the price and scope for them. So if you notice, we've kind of sectioned our pricing into little like chunks that belong together. We outline the scope of those chunks, but we want to keep those chunks together and we don't let them like say, I only want to do like half of that and a bit of this. We try and keep those chunks together because we know exactly what goes into each thing and how important each section is. However, if someone comes back to us and is like, hey, I really love everything you proposed, but I think it's a little bit too high of a price for us. This is how you can lower your price without undervaluing what you do. What you do is instead of just cutting your rate without any justification and saying, yeah, sure, this value is arbitrary, let's just cut it in half. No, you remove something from the scope so that they feel the hurt, they feel the value.
Right.
So if they want to lower the price, they have to remove a round of revisions, they have to remove one of the concept options, they have to remove one of the deliverables. And I'll tell them like, hey, let's remove this because I think we can still get away with doing a great project while still removing one concept, and then we'll lower the price proportionally.
Right.
So yeah.
So if you're doing a logo with say 3 concepts, 3 rounds of revisions, and final files, you could say, okay, well we'll knock some price off and we'll do 2 concepts, 2 rounds of revisions. And so you're taking out a few things so that they don't think that you just made up that number and it actually wasn't.
Because if you just
worth
lower
it.
your price for no reason, they're never going to trust you again. They're like, they lied. They lied to me the first time. They told me that it was going to be this much, and then they just took it down. So now I know that I can negotiate and haggle with them every time they tell me no. You have to be a parent, a loving, caring, helicopter tiger mom that's just like, no means no, yes means yes. You will be a great human when you grow up. So at the end, too, so I've outlined all the scope.
Shout out to Leah Fizzer. Hi from Tel Aviv.
Hey!
Awesome.
So after the scope's all done, this is on these big bundle projects. If you can see, I like to show hunker down. So I like to show them the total price. But then if it's a really big project, what I do is I'll say, if you book everything with us, because a lot of times people will want to only do 1 or 2 things.
Jen, did you know you're a genius?
You are too, Ames.
This lady. Brains, brawn.
We share a hive mind, so we're both really smart. So at the end, I'll put, if you want to book this whole thing with us, if you don't remove anything, we'll give you an 8% bundle deal, which is whatever amount off. And then I show them the bundle right down here. Now they're like, dang it. I just self-censored right there. They say, dang it, now we have to do the whole thing. So this is a really big scope that we actually proposed them
Yeah,
on.
we did.
If this was a smaller scope and someone just asked for maybe just like the brand identity portion, what I would probably do, or you would probably do, is give them 2 package options. One that was just this brand identity, and then one that was a slight upsell that included a few extra...
Maybe like a stationery set or
things that are like really
things
valuable.
that are actually much easier to do than the logo, but they add so much value to your client because to them that's tangible, right? It's like a letterhead, it's a business card, it's something they can hold instead of just this logo that kind of lives in the ether until you would apply it to something.
Yeah.
So when you add that stationery set, even though it takes maybe a 1/10 of how much time it took you to do the logo, it just creates so much more value and you can justify a higher expense in the client's mind.
Exactly. Ashley asked if we are twins. Yes, we are.
Ashley, we're twins.
We are fraternal.
But
Not
we look
identical.
I think we look so similar.
Longtime fans of the Olsens. We
Yes.
used to watch them back when they had their detective movies. Do you remember those?
Oh my gosh.
And we dreamed of being detectives when we grew up. Amy still is like...
I want to be a private investigator when I retire from design. I mean, I'll do some amazing branding for
You'll
my
have
agency.
your own investigative
Yes.
ID show.
Oh my gosh! If I could get like a private investigator show, that'd be amazing.
It would
like
be
Keith
amazing.
Morrison. Keith Morrison is my hero.
So anyways,
Tell us what your favorite guilty pleasure TV is in the chat. Like, what do you watch when you're doing design? I like to watch TV when I do design.
yeah, Amy will watch
X-Files.
Forensic Files all
Forensic
day
Files.
long. What do you guys watch when
Or
you're
do you listen to
designing?
music? Let us know. Blow up the chat. And we only have 3 minutes till we do chat and win, so stay
Get
tuned.
ready because the question for Chat and Win will be who would play you in the movie adaptation of your life. So get ready.
Jen,
Think
who
about
would be
it.
yours?
For me, it's weird, but I kind of want Emily Blunt to like bleach her hair and be me.
She's great.
Yeah,
love her.
Then I could be married to John Krasinski. This would be great.
Perks.
So
Perks galore.
Who would play you?
Who would be me? I don't, people always say I look like Rachel McAdams, and she cracks me up. If you've not seen The Family Stone, great movie.
People used to get Jenny McCarthy a lot.
Oh yeah, that was weird. I don't understand that one, but hey, let's go.
Tell us who should play us, please.
Yeah, who should play us?
Everyone's
Also,
saying they watch Cheers.
Shout out
while
to
they're
Natalie. She also likes Dateline. It's great.
Yes.
Ooh, Great British Baking Show. All-time fave.
Yes.
All-time fave. That kind of restores my hope in humanity a bit, you know?
Jimmy wants to know if you're excited about the Twilight Zone reboot.
Oh my gosh, I just saw the commercial for that on the Super Bowl. I am excited. So far, it looks pretty cool. Okay, so back to our client, back to our discovery.
Okay, so the next thing,
So
we
what
land.
program are we in right now?
We're gonna go into InDesign. Shocker, the client hired us. It was super exciting. They're amazing people. We're so excited to be working with them. So again, if for anyone who's tuning in new, our client is a company that turns cremated remains, your loved one, into diamonds. It's man-made diamonds, but it's a different way to remember and celebrate the life of your loved one by, having them close to you, either through jewelry or, however you want to set the diamond. So that's who we're doing a rebrand for. So once the project, we've landed it, they've paid their down payment, which we always require.
Always get money up front. This doesn't have to do with Adobe programs, but it's just smart to do.
Smart
Whether it's
business.
30% up front, 50% up front. If it's a big job, maybe do something lower like 30%. But if it's just a logo, definitely get half up front before you start working.
Yeah. So pretty much, once they sign the contract, they pay their upfront fee to
Wolf
get us rolling.
just logged in and he wants to know if this is a real client. Yes, it is Adam Wolf. You should check them out. They're called Eterneva.
Eterneva.com. It's fascinating. They're amazing people. I think it's a really cool way to remember someone. And they're trying to do, I'll go through it now. So pretty much after we book the client, our first step before we do any design is that we have to do discovery, which Andrew Hockrattle just talked about in the previous session. You should watch him tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. He's amazing.
Also, Andrew Hockrattle just won he just won the creative
Personality award.
Right?
Yeah.
He's got personality, he's talented, it's amazing. Definitely tune in for him tomorrow.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
59 seconds, hurry.
59 seconds till chat and win. But so before we do any design with a client, we do a discovery, that's where we just research, we interview them, we learn everything about them, who their target demographic is, who they're working with, what they want to communicate, so that we can then show them that we understand. We're going to reflect back everything they said to us in a very digestible deck that proves that we understand the goal, we understand what our problems are, how we're going to fix it, and we're proposing to them aesthetic and strategic ways to accomplish those goals. So that's what we'll be going through, is the discovery deck.
And that makes the design process so much easier. So instead of just opening Illustrator and just kind of futzing around until something works, you have like a clear path. This is the imagery I want to work with. This is, these are the personality traits of this brand. It just makes the process so much more streamlined.
So true.
Yeah.
And by tying your Oh, we might as well stop. Chat and Win's about to happen.
Chat and Win's about to happen. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Oh, do we have to do the little graphic thing?
Yes.
Paco?
Say we're gonna watch a little intro.
We're gonna watch an intro. Okay, it's Chat and Win. It's happening. Okay, so you gotta get in the chat. We're gonna ask you a question. The question is, who would play you in the movie biopic of your life? Get in the chat. You have a minute. You could win this awesome Moo notebook. It's so nice. Look at this. It has lay flat technology. It's amazing.
This is the kind of thing someone will try to steal. So hold it dear. Put your name in it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. Okay, so get in there. Let's see what we got. Okay, what are people? Who do you want to play you in the movie biopic of your life?
Sean
Alexis
Austin.
Bledel, Emma
Zooey
Watson.
Deschanel, that would be good.
Ooh, there's some good ones.
Rosario
Ooh.
Dawson, Jennifer Lawrence. There's some good people in here.
Yeah. Catherine Langford. Never heard
Dwayne
of her.
Johnson, yes, The Rock.
The Rock. I do too. Me too. Definitely.
Oh my gosh, Matthew McConaughey, good one.
Claire Foy. Ooh, from The Crown.
Yes.
So good. So good. Helena Bonham Carter. Love her. So good. Penelope Cruz. Wow, they're going so fast. I
Jackson
can't even
Falls
read them.
said that.
Oh, we have a winner! Okay, Alexandra Daly, you won this notebook. It's yours. Fill it with your hopes, your dreams. I hope you make some amazing sketches. The paper feels so good. If you want to know what it sounds like, Andrew Hockrattle did an ASRM video of it on the last segment. Just go to behance.live/replays. You'll be able to find that. Yeah.
Congratulations, Alexandra.
Congratulations.
Very
Okay.
exciting.
So Jen, take us back into the discovery. Tell us a bit about it, but then we'll hop into design.
Okay, yeah, so we're gonna go through this discovery super fast. This is pretty much our research document for our client, proving that we understand what the goal of this project is. You have to have a very tangible goal for your project that makes it into something more than just aesthetics. If it's just about aesthetics, then you're gonna get to the proof stage with your client. You're gonna show them the proof, and they're just gonna say, I don't like it. I don't like blue. I don't like green. Well, that's not the point here.
Is your client a 16-year-old valley girl from
Exactly.
California? That's what it sounds like.
Your point has to be something larger, something more important that's like actually something that you can measure success against. So
Right.
for us,
Because design can be very intangible to explain sometimes.
yes, it can be kind of abstract and subjective, so you have to turn it into something that's not abstract.
We're
and
making
objective.
it objective.
So our goal for this project is to define the visual story of Eterneva. Eterneva is bright and embraces life. The aesthetic and visual language need to be equally lively and vivid. The look should reflect Eterneva's mission to remember lives remarkably. We're creating a new way to eternalize loved ones. Our look, like our product, will be unexpected yet beautiful and even inspiring. So that's the micro goal. The macro goal that they have on a larger scale through all of their initiatives is to reinvent and shift the way we think about death, memorials, and legacy, much like Airbnb shifted the way that we thought about travel.
Gosh, remember when like Uber first came out and it was like, get in someone's car, a stranger's car to take you somewhere? No.
This is against everything we've learned about stranger danger.
I know, but now it's like second nature. It's so fascinating, and same with Airbnb. So it's kind of cool being at the forefront of something like this.
Yeah,
right.
Totally. Jennifer Piatowski says, do you have a branding questionnaire before interviews? We have a questionnaire that we use, which is included in the proposal product that I mentioned earlier on our site, which is the questions that we take them through to even prepare the proposal for them. And then once we land the job, we do a much more in-depth, like either video chat or a phone call with them to just like go even more in depth on all the questions that we asked initially. And we pretty much just let them talk. A lot of the questions for the brand questionnaire will be like, if someone was your celebrity endorser or like was your
Right.
celebrity
That was a
like
good one.
spokesperson, who would it be? If you had a song that played behind your ad campaign, what would it be? Those kinds of things.
Things that are a bit easier to answer maybe than like, what's your, I don't know.
What's the vision for your company in
Right.
2020? Like that can be too much for someone to answer sometimes. And a lot of times the goal is to get them thinking about their company in a different way they've ever thought about
Right.
it. So asking them like, if two celebrities had a love child and it was your company, who would they be? Like it's funny and it gets them thinking and it gets them excited and it gets them laughing and it breaks down all the fear of working with someone
Right.
new. So try and make it fun when you're interviewing people like that. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so after we go through the goals with them so that they know that we understand what we're doing here, we go through their ethos. Their ethos is that their loved ones are extraordinary people and that we treasure their stories. It's not so much that they're gone, they live on in a different way. We're not going to talk about them in the past tense, things like that. Then we'll go over personality or traits. This is kind of similar to what Andrew did in the last segment, where he
really
said we are
similar.
this and we are not that. So here's where we're defining kind of the tone of what we want the look and feel to be, and even the messaging. So it should feel heartfelt and genuine. We don't want our customers to be like approached with something somber and like, you know, like funeral arrangements and mauve and like, you know, cream.
Black or
in like a dingy, dark place. We want it to feel like joyous, like, hey,
Positive.
like they're not with us physically, but they're still, you know, like in our hearts, they still live on in our memories, and thinking about it more in a positive light. We want to highlight the remarkable qualities of the loved ones, and we want it to be bright and something that inspires people and gives them hope and joy and helps them focus on the things they loved about those people, rather than focusing on the fact that maybe they aren't physically with them anymore. So now that the client's like, hey, they get us, this is exciting, now we move into the mood board. So
Roman Warren wants to know, is that stock photography that you use in your...
Yes. So all through the deck, we use either stock photography or from unsplash.com, which is a great resource for completely free photos, and a lot of them are just stunning.
And another amazing free resource is Adobe Stock.
Exactly.
They have some amazing things. You can pay for certain licenses, things like that. Definitely check it out. Stock.adobe.com.
But yeah, I actually have one of those subscriptions with Adobe Stock where I get like up to 10 downloads a month, which makes it super handy.
Right.
So yeah, and sometimes I'll even just use more like inspiration images, which we're just using for reference. It's not like we have rights to them or anything, but we're just showing it to a client to be like, hey, this is kind of the vibe we're going for.
Right.
So actually, I think this is a photo from Polaroid, and then I love to look on Pinterest for inspiration images too, so that's from Pinterest. But down here, that's a stock photo that I then placed an old Polaroid into.
Very cool.
But the whole time I'm trying to show them like a prequel to what I envisioned for their identity, you know?
Starting to create buy-in.
Yeah, so I'm starting to create buy-in before I ever design anything, so that they're saying yes and they're getting excited before anything else. So if you see too on my in InDesign, I'm using a grid just to make things super simple. I have my master page.
So how'd you turn that grid on?
So if you click W when you're in InDesign, it'll kind of take it to like a preview mode.
Love that feature.
Yeah, but right now I have grids on.
I love the guides.
Yeah, so if you go to layout and go create guides, you can set up how many rows you want, how many columns you want. You can fit them to the margins or to the page. I fit mine to the margins. Yeah, super handy. And then that way you can just kind of like put stuff in real fast. So we had this idea in our mood board, like eventually doing a photo session with these people inspired by like different pieces from a person's life, and that person's now in this diamond, and we would have the ring next to all these like mementos from their life. So these images, I want to show you, this guy takes these photos and they're so freaking cool. Instagram.
Natalie Frank said, grids just make me happy. Me too.
Me too.
Natalie.
It makes it easier. Like,
It's
well,
so
I
much
guess when you
easier.
can just snap to a point.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
So Gold Lunchbox on Instagram.
And it
His
also
name's
drives
Carl
me...
Hebert.
Oh, sorry.
He does these amazing collage photos of
that's
stuff
cool.
he finds at like flea markets and swap meets. Let me find one. And it inspired me so much. I was like, it'd be so cool to do something similar, but
that
with
one,
the
yeah.
things that from people's lives, you know, like a little like collage of their life.
Yeah.
So
That's such a cool idea.
yeah, so he does these amazing things. If you love this, you should follow Gold Lunchbox and check out this hashtag, The Confessions of a Hoarder. He takes the coolest photos of stuff. So yeah.
Very cool.
Tom Schmidt says, do you ever work with copywriters? We actually did all of our own copywriting for this, just to kind of like, because I feel like I have to understand it and I have to be able to communicate it. But then later on when we work on messaging, I'll work with like a professional writer for sure. And if you aren't good at talking and speaking about your clients, then you could definitely hire a copywriter. So yeah, so our inspiration for this visual identity down the road is to use collages about a loved one, to use vivid color. I explain a little bit about that here. We want to use bold yet thoughtful type. We don't want it to be like demure and like somber and look like Trajan Pro chiseled into a headstone. Yeah, like we want to buck that idea and make it not feel so like serious and make it feel a little bit more like lively. Celebratory. So some of these pieces are actually from inspiration that the client sent. So she actually loved this archive font, which I also love.
Yeah.
But I've been seeing a lot of this kind of style on Under
It is really
Consideration
popular, yeah.
recently, brand news Under Consideration. So I was like, okay, we can do something similar, but I don't want to follow it too closely.
Right, make it your own.
We have to make it our own. I love the fact that this kind of like slab, like, you know, condensed sans serif, like just something that's like, life is awesome. They were cool people. Like, let's like focus boldly on how cool they lived. To add in the human element of these people who are now these diamonds, like let's integrate handwritten fonts that like make it look like the person has actually signed their name, and yet something that feels a little bit delicate and elevated because it is a piece of jewelry and it is expensive. So we want it to kind of match their expectation there. So that's what we're going for there. Modern yet nostalgic logo. This was a lot of the stuff that the client sent to me that she really liked. So I explained to her, which she kind of understood, that a lot of these pieces are more like illustrative emblems. They're not really a logo. But eventually down the line, we could kind of build out our logo to have emblems, seals, secondary marks that are in line with this, illustrations that match. But for now, we want to kind of consolidate it down into more simple forms, you know, so that it can be used in a really small area and it can be more emblematic and representative rather than so illustrative and
so on the nose.
On the nose. Yeah, exactly. So these are her inspirations. To be honest, we had to go back and forth like 3 or 4 times to get completely agreed visually on what we were going for, but it was important because I want to make sure that I understand visually what she wants. So yeah. The discovery deck's not included in the proposal template. Sorry, that's a good idea. I should make that. They take so long to make. I don't know why. I think it's the how-to docs. So, but coming at you, I'll work on it. Okay. We also want to incorporate watercolor illustrations eventually for the people that are now diamonds, real photos and Polaroids of the real customers. So actually having our customers send in old photos or, you know, new photos that are recent of the people they loved and using those in campaigns. So yeah, that's our discovery. We always make sure the client signs off on it or verbally approves it or in writing so that later on we can refer back to this. And this is our North Star. This is how we know we're on track. And we compare all proofs against this later on. So yeah, but P.S., this pretty much is just, this deck, this discovery deck, is just built off of this same character styles, paragraph styles, and grid and page layout as our proposal deck. So you could easily save as, which is exactly what I did from our proposal deck, and make it into a discovery deck easily.
Update the fonts, change the colors around.
And then I save as again and make it into a proof deck. Like, you just have to change, like, you know, the content, but...
And that's the awesome part about paragraph styles in InDesign. I love them. InDesign, like I said, it's a little bit harder to use at the get-go, but gosh, once you get it set, it's so easy to just like make tiny changes and it just makes everything look so awesome and so different.
Yeah.
So new.
John Shelton asked, have clients decline the discovery deck as a deliverable? How do you handle price adjustments if so? We don't let people remove the discovery anymore. We used to because we were like, well, it's okay, we need the job. But we've realized that every time we have, the job has ended up really off the rails because we didn't take the time to get on the same page with them and to really invest in us all aligning on our goals. It's so important.
Because it's work you have to do anyway. I think that's what we realized was we're going to be doing this phase anyway, so we need to bill for it no matter what. So letting people take it out when we were still going to do it in the end because we just need it for our design process just didn't make sense. So we build it in and we don't even let people take it off because it's actually put in as a part of the logo package.
Yeah, I think on our proposal stage we say discovery included within each scope section. So it's not something they can line item out, it's just always included. Okay, so now that we're done with the discovery, they've signed off, everyone's happy, we're all stoked, we're on the same page, we've already got client buy-in because they know we understand, they're excited about the visuals. P.S. Natalie Frank just said Hoodzpah's better than Don Draper.
We did it. We did it.
We did it.
We made it.
I just want to retire right now. I'd like to put, can you put that on my LinkedIn profile? Please recommend me. Okay, so now we're gonna start actually designing. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Let's get into Illustrator.
So same thing, because I know that I'm gonna be delivering these files via a proof deck that I'm gonna send in 16:9 ratio, what I'll usually set it to, I like to work in inches. Maybe it's because I started in print and that's what I understand. I don't know, but I'm gonna just make it 16:9 inches. Yes, for our boards.
Because we know it's gonna fit our InDesign deck, right?
Exactly, so then I can just pop it straight into the proof deck and it will be ready to roll.
Herson Rodriguez says, smart. I'm in a nightmare project right now because of this, because he didn't do a discovery. So it is really helpful to get people to sign off and buy in get this client to sign off. Yeah.
And it also justifies a higher price because you're showing them, hey, I'm not just like some monkey that executes like visuals. I'm actually analyzing, I'm strategizing, I'm positioning you.
Right.
There's research involved.
Right.
There's a lot of science here, okay?
Right.
So, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna space these out a little bit more. P.S. If you ever want to rearrange your artboards, because you get them all crazy. Oh gosh, look at how many. Oh, here we go.
Yep.
You go to your artboards panel, and then you go to rearrange all artboards, and you can choose if you want to go left to right, up, down, however you want to go. So I want the spacing to be much more. That's too much. Let's go. Yeah. So there you go. Nice. Now it's all arranged real pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna start by, let's see. I'm just gonna start typing out Eterneva and start kind of getting some fonts I'm excited about. So I'm just gonna
Looking for fonts is always my hardest. That's the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
That's why I usually end up just creating my own, which is so fun. I love doing it. We did it the last time we were on Adobe Live, and I just kind of already know in my mind usually what I want.
Yeah.
And so I usually just get the sketchbook out, scan it in, lock the layer in Illustrator, and then just go to town with shapes and the pen tool. But
So I'll just like, pretty much I want to see what some of my fonts that I think I'll use will look like when they're applied to a couple different ways, either, title casing, sentence casing, all caps or all lowercase. I'm already thinking that I'll stray away from all lowercase because I think that's a bit too demure and subtle for someone who's saying, we want to be bright and celebrate life. Like already I'm thinking it should have at least one capital in it, Maybe even an exclamation point. That'd probably be too much.
Too much.
It's like, yeah. So let me start applying some fonts to this that I think could
Roman Warren agrees that finding the font is the hardest part.
Oh, it's so hard.
It's so hard.
It can be.
It's like, and it's sometimes the tiniest little nuance that really
I
just
love
makes a
these
difference.
semi-serifs. Is that what you would call this? Like
It's
a
humanist,
tapered
right? I think it's
serif?
humanist.
But it's pretty much where it's like a really I don't know. It's got those shapes, those curves,
Right.
that I like.
curvy.
And it's not really structured into old timey. It feels kind of modern. So I do like the look of that. I think I'll try that.
While you're working on that, I'm going to answer a question from Kristen Best. She asked, the timeline is great, but how do you keep the timeline from overlapping? It's really tough, and we schedule out all our work at least 2 months in advance to make sure that we have enough work coming down the pipeline for ourselves, since we're kind of like glorified freelancers as a small studio.
And that didn't happen immediately. Mainly,
Yeah.
we just started booking out when we were too busy to take anything on, and we didn't want to turn them away. So we said, hey, we can't take you on now, but what if we book you for 2 weeks out? And then we started booking for 3 weeks
Yeah.
out. And then because we just kept getting busier, now we're at 2 months.
Even more.
But yeah.
But it's hard to stick to timelines, but it's always a lot easier if you set up the timeline at first with the client. Everyone kind of agrees, something loose, and then as you're waiting for feedback from your client, because usually that's where it kind of bottlenecks, because they don't realize how much time they're going to need to kind of sit on a design to think about it. Just send them a reminder and say, hey, I'm expecting feedback from you tomorrow if we're going to stay on track on our timeline. If not, we're going to have to push the deadline back. And that always usually gets them back on track, back on their game. And also, I found that making Google Calendar invites for all of the the key benchmarks is really helpful. So sending them a Google Calendar invite that says, expect logo proofs round 1 on January 7th. And then, sending them an email calendar invite to say, you should be getting me feedback from your team on January 12th. And just so everyone has kind of in their calendar, they aren't constantly banging down your door with emails like, hey, when is this coming? It's kind of handy.
Because the minute the client feels like you're not on it and they start to take control out of panic, that's when you've really lost a battle, and it's hard to get your trust back after that. So it's really important to keep their trust and keep them convinced that you're in control and you know what's happening next. Gabrielle asked, how do you have clients sign off on your proposal if you're sending via email? A written response that says, I approve this is enough for me to later say, remember you approved it in the email, and then I forward them the email, which is a little passive aggressive, but sometimes necessary. So someone else asked, where do you go to find great fonts? Well, Adobe has...
Shout out to Adobe, because, wow, they just, all these fonts.
Yeah, they have Adobe Fonts, which is at fonts.adobe.com, and you can search through and activate these and license them.
And it's cool, like if you scroll up to that sidebar, I love how you can say like, oh, I want something wide, I want something narrow. Like there's all these really great little tools to help you find exactly what you want.
Totally.
Which is handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And yes, Tim Obest is right. You can sing as many fonts as you want. Super exciting.
Yeah.
But other great places, My Fonts is great. Some people, if you're looking for something very like grungy and a lot of texture and very handwritten, Creative Market is stock full of that. So tons of that. But if you want to go for more like independent type studios, you kind of have to do your digging because they can be harder to find, but it's so worth it. I like Commercial Type is a studio that's does a lot of great work. They made Canella, which I'm in love with. But yeah, there's a lot of good options out there. So I'm gonna find some fonts that I want here.
You look for fonts. I'll answer some more chat questions. Debbie Trout, shout out to Debbie Trout, Charlotte. She asked, do you always present in person? I try to, but nowadays it's so awesome. Like, thank goodness for the internet, right? Because we have clients in Japan, in France, and Australia. So obviously sometimes that just doesn't work. But for kickoff meetings, we always try to do at least like a video call, a video chat, so they can see my face. They can see I'm happy, I'm excited, I'm stoked to work on the project, and that I'm on their team. I think that's the huge thing, is just letting people know that you're on their side. You want this to succeed just as much as they do. You know, you're all in. And so I think a video chat is a great way to do that, maybe if you can't meet in person. But yeah, having those face-to-face interactions are really important. So usually on a project, when I schedule out like those calendar invites, like I was telling you, I'll usually say like, this first one is going to be an in-person meeting. Then we'll have 2, you know, email-based proofs sent out to you. And then maybe when we start the, environmental design phase, we'll do another meeting in person, and just making sure I'm constantly going in, putting in the FaceTime, making sure that they trust me, things like that.
You know when you lose all your toolbars, what did I do? How do I? Basic. Where did I go?
Windows. Yeah, you have to go Windows.
But then what?
Go Workspace.
Workspace. Essentials. Here we go. I don't know what I did there.
The pressure's getting to you.
That was stressful.
It's good for you though.
It's super good for me. Also hit Command S every once in a while, you know.
Yeah. Good call.
Okay, so we're gonna name this Eterneva.
Adobe
Round
Live says,
1.
you got this. Thanks, Adobe Live.
Can I call a friend? Phil! Okay. I'm gonna just, usually we'll go into here, go DE, Eterneva. Yeah, I'm gonna make a new folder because I can't show you what's in there. There's a few things in there that, Eterneva
NDAs.
too.
NDAs.
So I'm gonna save it in here. Save. Okay.
Gabrielle Slavosky wants to know, do clients ever speak with you about something, agree to it, and then later on find out that they spoke to your twin or get confused? We actually always try to divvy up the clients for that reason. One person is the point person, so that there isn't the confusion of like, was it Amy, was it Jen? You know, we're trying to make it easy. The twin thing is already kind of gimmicky enough, so yeah, we split up our projects. Paco knows. Oh wait, is that Gus? Gus, what? Where did Paco go? All right.
Okay. See.
Doc Reed has a great tip for saving. He says save at the end of every song. So if you're listening to a playlist while you're working, genius.
So
hit that
genius.
Command S at the end of every song. What are y'all listening to right now? Right now, I am stuck on the new 1975. Also, Laney. I've been saying LA, New York for a while, but I guess it's Laney. You know when you find out about something by reading about it and then you realize you've been pronouncing it wrong your whole life?
Yes.
That's hard for me. Like I say Nevada, but apparently it's Nevada. Chat, what do you think? Nevada? Tell us. Oh my gosh, Ryan Ford's in here. Ryan Ford, you're so legit. What are you doing here? Also, hello,
This is
Lindsay
a space
Palmer.
for only legit people, Aim.
Yes.
That's what you didn't
Only
realize.
legit
Only
people.
legit people hang
Only
out at
legit
Adobe
people.
Live.
In Adobe Live chat.
Because it's the coolest place to be.
Oh wow, Gran Freud says, since there is autosave in Adobe XD, I dream of this for InDesign Illustrator. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Adobe Illustrator, people who are working on that could think about that. Autosave would be awesome. That saved me a bunch of times in InDesign when my program has crashed.
Yeah. I'm gonna start working with.
And of course, Dropbox. We always have Dropbox.
So when I do logos, I usually like to, yes, I'm gonna start sometimes with a font that exists. I'm gonna turn it from auto to optical.
You do that?
Yeah, because then it kind of spaces it out a little bit more like visually pleasing. Because let's be
Interesting.
real, sometimes you like align something perfectly and it still doesn't look aligned.
Right.
And you have to kind of adjust for optics. So
Okay, gotta get in there, kern it yourself.
Yeah.
Don't just typeset and go.
Yeah.
You gotta get in there with the kerning.
So I don't want to just leave this as exactly as it is. I want it to feel a little special.
Ooh, Ted
So-
Stroller said the new Rex Orange County. Sorry, but he's right. He's right.
Yeah,
That is
that's
some
a
good
great
music.
album. So I'll keep a version of it live up there, but then I'm gonna outline it and I'm gonna start messing around and adding some special stuff.
My favorite thing is Frankensteining type. I love,
Yeah.
Okay, create outlines and then just go to town, make it something new, make it something exciting.
Like I want one of these to ascend or descend or like feel like it's continuing, like feel like
Right.
there's something that's like carrying through that's like unifying the whole word mark so that even if we don't use the icon with the word mark all the time, it feels custom even by itself. Maybe I'll have the R kind of like ascend down into like a pretty little, so I'm gonna just,
Oh, so you're not gonna drag the anchor points, you're gonna,
I don't know, it's gonna be ugly at first, don't judge me, people.
But everything starts ugly. You kind of have to let it become what it's gonna be. I feel like people quit too early on things.
Yeah.
That's why I like to do a time lapse. I'll set up my phone and do a time lapse of me designing because the pressure forces you to keep going with the design because you have to finish the time lapse. So then you come up with something really cool at the end that you probably would have quit on otherwise. So
This is also where I could totally use Bob Ewing's help. He's a master with
he's so good
these
with the Bezier curves.
I watch him and I'm like, how? And he gets them all like perfectly.
Herb Lichtenberg has a good idea. He said, what if you do something with the negative space like FedEx did with the arrow? Cool.
I think about that all the time, Herb. Literally, I think, how can I do what FedEx
I know.
did? And sometimes it
for some reason my eye can't ever really see it. Like,
but Herb, I
One
dream of
day.
it. I promise you.
yeah,
I
one
dream of
day.
it.
Ryan Ford says, love modifying typefaces. Me too. We're right there with you.
So
Adam Wolf says, how long is this stream? We'll be on till 1 p.m. today. And then next up, there's going to be some more amazing graphic design live. So stay tuned. We'll be on till 3 doing Adobe Live.
Okay. I feel like I made it worse here, but let's see. It's all about trial and error. I think I had it best the first time. And then I just kept going and making it worse.
Oh yeah. I think you need to, yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's better. Cool.
I want it to kind of hug the hole.
Right.
Okay, so now I need to make it as big as this. About like that.
Oh, Adam Wolf says you've got that V that's diamond shaped. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, I have a little sketch here where I pretty much could go like that. Well, I'm not gonna, you know what would be better? For me to do it properly. Like,
Oh yeah, I always start with my shape tools.
if I cut here, now I know it's a perfect shape and I don't have to worry.
So you used your key commands. It's Command C for cut. Super handy. It saves you a lot of time if you use key commands. Andrew Hockrattle said it, we said it, you've heard it here. Key commands, shortcuts.
So yeah, we could try and turn that into a diamond maybe. Here's the thing, I'm gonna try a bunch of stuff. Whoops, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, Tim Mobist in the chat, he's like the awesome moderator. He said, I have no idea how people are able to work only by using the trackpad. I used to think that, but
Oh my
then
gosh,
I
I'm
started
using the trackpad, aren't I?
I
What
started
am I
working at
doing?
coffee shops and I forgot my mouse a few times and I was doing full-on complex illustrations with my trackpad. And actually, I found it really helps my wrist. Also, Jed Bridges taught me some wrist, what are these called? Stretches that are really
What are
handy.
these called? Stretches?
But if you like mix it up with some trackpad, some mouse, some stylus, it really helps your wrists. You heard it here.
1, 2.
Also, welcome from Brazil. Z Lira is tuning in all the way from Brazil. Also, someone wrote on our Instagram yesterday that they were going to tune in from Japan live at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So
now that we
dedication.
have that custom V, I feel like the R is too much. So actually, this is also what happens as I work on logos, and same with you, Ames. Like, there's just iterations on iterations on iterations, and it all just starts stacking, and that's fine.
You just option drag and just keep making little edits and seeing what kind of works.
And here's the thing, like, this is a good idea. It's not executed super well, but I just wanted to get out the idea really fast. And now that it's done, I'm just gonna kind of like move it to the side and keep getting out as many ideas as I can. I don't want to really get too distracted working too much on one right now, because right now I'm in just like ideation mode.
Right.
So
Just kind of getting the things that you have in your sketches up on the screen.
So this has like a tapered.
Adam
quality
Wolf
to it.
says, using the trackpad to design makes me feel unwell, like when you accidentally sleep in jeans. Who accidentally sleeps in jeans? That's like saying you accidentally fell asleep with your shoes on. Adam, where's your mother? I want to call your mother.
Oh my gosh, I can't get that curve right. Well,
No, that looks good.
Does
I
that
like
look good?
You know
Okay.
what I sometimes do is I'll start with a circle, cut that, and then start
know.
adjusting. Sometimes that helps me with the curves a little bit.
So I'm gonna use the width tool, Shift W, I think, or Command W. Anyways, it's now I'm like, what do I use? Pretty much you go on here, yeah. When you have a stroke selected, then you go Shift W, and it'll kind of let you change your width on your stroke while keeping the stroke live.
Create a little taper.
Yeah, because I can see that there's like varying
Widths.
Varying is not a word, but you know what I mean. Varying
I'm here to help, Jen.
widths. So now I have a little bit more of like that arc, you know? It's not perfect, but again, I just want to get that rough idea out.
I like it. I like where it's going, though. You know, you
Yeah.
can see where it's going.
So that's one concept. Let's see. Let's try one. Oh, you know what I want to look up?
Okay, I'm going to answer a question from chat while you're doing that. So Josh Culture has asked a few times. Josh, I see you. I see you in there. He says, do you prefer to quote at a flat rate for logo project or keep it hourly? Jen and I have always said, and it's in our book if you want to hear an even longer thing about it, but for logo design, I feel like it's a value-based service, right? You can't just say it took me 10 hours to design this logo, because there's a lot of strategy and thinking and planning and prepping, and there's a lot riding on this logo, right? So if a company like Red Bull rebrands, that's worth a lot of money, because you have to think about a lot of different things that go into a successful rebrand. So you have to think about it in a value-based way. So Jen and I usually say, what is this worth to us? What is it worth to the client? And then we kind of find a number from there. And so sometimes it helps to start out thinking about it hourly and say like, okay, this will take me 30 to 50 hours plus management time, things like that. Start with that. You kind of know your hourly from there, and then start doing plus or minus all the variables. So plus or minus, what's the size of this company? How many outlets do they have? Is it a mom and pop, or is it a huge company that has, 5,000 doors and is going to be scrutinized from every angle possible? So thinking about those plus or minuses, those variables, and kind of adding cost or maybe taking off cost.
So I'm thinking, since this company, like, their flagship is going to be jewelry, diamonds made out of cremated ashes. So, but even if they expand their products eventually to be other ways to remember people, which I'm sure they will, and we've talked about it, that this logo also needs to be able to serve other purposes ongoing in that space of remembrance. But still, diamonds are the perfect symbol for something that's forever,
Right.
something that's beautiful, that's bright. A lot of the core value statements that they wanted to exude in their brand. So it still could be the perfect icon, or something about a diamond could be the perfect visual story for this brand. So I'm thinking, what if, because diamonds happen naturally in the earth, kind of like in this region of the core, or is that in the
Wow, we're getting scientific.
in the mantle. They happen in the mantle. Okay, I'm learning something. So, but let's see, it kind of is cool because it almost looks like a rainbow, which is bright and it's light and it's not really tangible, but it spurs memory and joy, kind of like someone's memory.
Yeah.
So what if we kind of worked from the idea of, where diamonds happen?
Shout out to Mike Jones in the chat. Mike Jones is the
Jones.
creator of Creative South, which we just told you earlier, I think we told you, was one of our favorite conferences we've ever gone to. It's really reasonably priced. If you're maybe a freelancer or just looking for a great creative community or creative experience, Creative South is a really awesome conference to go to. It's in Georgia, in America, not the country. And yeah, check it out. Oh, Herb Lichtenberg also said a forever symbol can also be an eternity or infinity symbol that we could play
Yeah,
with.
I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing. Her
We-
great call.
we totally
the
had that
infinity
idea.
symbol
Circle?
is on my sketches, which I'm stoked to try. I think you're right. There's something definitely there. So the cool thing about this, so I've made this globe, but I also imagine that it could be a rainbow. So I kind of want to
okay.
try
Dual meaning. I like
dual
it.
meaning here. I want to show the core and then show little dots for specks for the where the diamonds occur.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you turn it on its side, it could also be a rainbow into the sky, into the stars, which also resembles light and memory.
Right, or
And-
moving on to that next phase in life.
Right, and energy changing and light changing and brilliance, but also still being there. So what if we show these diamonds? Oops. Kind of hanging out here, kind of scattered. So they're in the Earth's core.
It's looking very scientific. I dig it.
And then on the other side, we kind of want it to look more like a sun. So what if I did this? Oh, actually I can take this one. Command, paste in place. I'm gonna go up.
Yeah, Command F is probably one of my most used short key commands. Paste in place, Command F.
I'm gonna group all these.
Ooh, Brooke Summers. I don't know if this is Brooke Summers from Good Type. If it is, shout in the chat. But your positivity in this phase is amazing. I love the curiosity. Thank you, Brooke. So exciting.
Oh, that's not right. Object, transform, rotate.
Jesse.
Half of 45 degrees would be 22.5.
22.5. Jesse Showalter says, how many hours do you research for a branding project, or do you just weave into the ideation? Gosh, it really depends on the project. If it's, maybe a smaller project and they don't have a huge budget, maybe they're not allotting for that much time, we still will do that discovery phase, but we won't spend as much time. But if we're doing, say, what would be maybe like a rebrand for a really big bookstore chain where they have, 1,200 doors. It has to work in a lot of different scenarios on signage and on the spine of a book. And there's a lot of different instances, a lot of different use cases.
Yeah, we'll usually spend like 2 hours with them doing like the brain dump interviews, like talking about everything we possibly can, maybe even 3. And then we go away, and for the next week, that's when we're researching and synthesizing and turning it into the discovery deck.
Synthesizing. Jen, just tack another grand on for that. That's fancy. But yeah, so I would say, gosh, it could take anywhere from 40 to 50 hours, honestly, like depending. Now that sounds like a lot, but if you're doing a project that's maybe going to last over a whole year, like that's really a fraction of amount of time. So,
and then for smaller stuff where it's a little bit more like, the industry's understood, we know exactly what the client wants, it's a little bit smaller of like a scale and budget, we'd probably maybe spend like, I don't know, 5 to 10 hours on that, and like getting all the right mood boarding, maybe even 12. So it's like, it takes time, but it's so valuable.
It makes the design process so much clearer, though. It's so important.
Okay, so, well, that is
also,
too dark.
Everyone's arguing about dark mode. They don't understand why you're working in light mode.
Oh, sorry.
I've still never tried dark mode. I feel like that's for Spotify. I don't know. What do you think, chat? Pro, con, dark mode? Keith wants to know, is the client watching right now?
Maybe. She's in San Francisco. I think we're going to hang out with her this week. Yes.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
So now I've kind of got this to be like a sun going into a rainbow, but it's also the Earth's core at the bottom with the diamonds.
Okay.
And like we could even...
And it kind of looks like a diamond from the top down.
Yeah, exactly. Like it does look like a jewel looking down on it. We could even put stars in here to be like, this is the night sky, but maybe we want to do a star that... Maybe we're infusing way too much meaning into this, but I like to start with a lot, and then we can always like come back and
simplify
Take things
out.
Down. Yeah.
Marie Kondo it down. And don't forget, everybody, the challenge submission deadline is in 22 minutes. So make sure you check out the Daily Creative Photoshop Challenge, and hop in there.
So right now, if I scaled this down, these little dots would be really hard to see. So I'm actually, just for quick sake, I'm gonna make them a little fatter with a stroke. So yeah, that's one idea. And there's a lot of symbology that I can tie to them, which could help us with our messaging down the road. And we could talk about the idea of the versatility of someone's like personality and the different rays of the rainbow.
Right.
I might be getting too heady here, but I don't know. I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's nice to have like those. Obviously the logo should mean something, because it makes it a lot easier when you're presenting it to the client. It's not just like, hey, this looks cool. What do you think? It's like, hey, here's the meaning behind why we chose, A, B, and C. And then it's a lot harder for them to just say, I don't like it.
Right. The hard thing is matching what the like visual weight of things.
Bye, Christina Boyko. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow.
Let's see if I can make that a little bit more. So I'm gonna try that. Okay, so that's one. I kind of want to try one now where I like strip it back, because I'm like, I think I went too far.
Right. It might be a little too complex, especially when you think about like one of their usages is going to be on the actual inside band of a ring. You know how sometimes they'll have like their name carved into the inside band? So maybe thinking about like a more simple icon. So we'll try something a bit more strapped down. Also, sometimes I like to build out a system where there's a simple icon, but then there's also a more detailed like illustrative seal. I always love doing that, because I'm a more is more person, so are you. It's just how we're built.
You have options, you
yeah.
know?
Then if you're using it like maybe on a sticker or, packaging or something, it can be maybe a bit more engaging than just the simplified icon. Alexandra Hetherington wants to know, how many variations do you show the client? Do you make up to 3 or more? I personally always like to show 3 concepts. And okay, I show 3, but I'm usually making like 10,
Yeah.
11. It's in the sketch phase, I'm making a million. And then usually once I have it all sketched out in my notebook, like this beautiful moon notebook, I will usually put an asterisk by the ones that I really like.
And tell them why we don't share sketch phases usually.
I usually don't share sketch phases, just because then they're always like, well, what about this one? Can I see more of this? And I usually know why I didn't choose it, or why I didn't choose it. I usually know like it wasn't gonna work for A, B, or C reasons. So yeah.
You know what's interesting? We could just use like 1/2 of this, and it would still tell the story and be a little bit more abstract. Like it's showing different layers, it's showing phases. It's still showing the diamonds and the idea. Like I still see stars here, which I like. Maybe we work on something simpler like that. I still want that one asterisk.
Shout out to Paco, fellow twin.
I guess.
If you need it, that's fine. I'd say just restart, save any work, let's restart.
Cool. I like where this is going personally. Sometimes the stuff I like the most though is like the most weird and different and not really like traditional. So I know that it's probably more of a long shot and it might not be the best, but I just am looking for something that's like new and not something I've seen before.
Yeah.
You know?
So how do you weigh that? Trying to do something new, trying to make sure you're not doing something that's tired, with also meeting, the idea and the mood board that the client wanted to see.
Right.
How do you
I
weigh
know
those
it's a
two things?
constant balance, yeah. Like a lot of times I'll get going down a rabbit hole and then I have to go back to the discovery. Just like I have to remind
Yeah.
the client to go back to the discovery and say, wait, actually this is a little too far from what we mood boarded. Like I have to be true to what we agreed to just as much as I'm gonna hold the client accountable to be
Right.
true to what we agreed to. Ooh, we could pull this T down and then kind of make a,
Oh, because it could kind of hug the E. I like how it
Yeah.
could kind of follow the curve of the E. I love seeing how letters can kind of tuck together, or, yeah. Sorry, my computer fan sounds like it's gonna explode. Paco's like,
It's
we're
about to
light
lift
the
off
studio
over
on
here."
fire. I know.
so I'm actually going to remove all this. Thanks. Now I have to find the perfect width. That's a little too much. Oops. Oh, I think I have mine.
Oh, hey.
Window.
Our sister and also our office manager / nanny, Brittany Morgan, is in the chat. What's up, Brittany? Also, shout out to Zach Nielsen. He said this is my favorite part of design to watch. Yeah, I love customizing fonts. It's so fun. I've said it a million times, but I'll say it again. It's so fun. It's a nice way to make something that no one else will have out there. It's like sometimes you typeset a font and you're like, is it different enough? But if you can find like fun little ways to adjust serifs, looking to play with a negative space, that's another great thing. Or just seeing how the letters kind of interact together and how they can play together. Those are all really, really fun ways to do it.
So now I'm going to continue this shape up so that I get it just right instead of using that T that was there before. So, okay, I can keep, let me see if I can just remove these.
Alexandra Daly wants to know, who's watching the children if your office nanny is here? Well, we don't have any children.
We are the
We are the
children.
children. That's why I say office nanny. Brittany is taking care of us, making sure all the deadlines get met, and she's awesome.
So interestingly, this doesn't look good. It's funny, like you have to try something.
You gotta go down the
You
rabbit
gotta
hole.
know.
You gotta try it to know if it's not gonna work.
Okay, so now that I know that this actually needs to be wider.
And I think the whole thing needs to go up.
Yeah.
The curve is starting too low.
Look at me art directing, Jen.
Hey, it's gotta happen. I'm gonna rejoin those and then take it back down.
Bye, Alexis. Shout out to Alexis. She's one of our awesome subcontractors. She does great editorial design. Shout out.
So what do you think, Aim? Like it should go up even more?
So yeah, I think you need to select the whole T and the curve.
Also,
and
if
go
you ever
up.
want to select a weird circle area, like especially when you're manipulating fonts, use this lasso selection.
I would even select the whole thing. Hear me out here. Wait. Okay, you can do that, but then select the whole letter form
Of T?
and maybe make that the top of the T match up with the top of the E. I don't know. Let's see. It might be too tall. Yeah.
About like that?
See how it's matching the curve better? And then you just need to cut the circle on the curve a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Daniel Seong's in the house. Daniel, you're so talented. Everyone go check out Daniel's work. He's amazing.
He's just one
Link
of those
it.
people
Link it up.
that you have to envy every day. You have to wake up and look on Instagram and say, it's just so good.
Daniel Leaf has a great question. He says, any recommendations for a daily design challenge to follow via social media? We got one right here on Adobe Live. It's amazing. They have a daily challenge every day. It helps you get used to the programs. They're really fun. And it's kind of a good way to start getting the work you want to get paid for. A lot of people say it, but it's so true. Make the kind of work you want to get. And so using these challenges as a way to create your own style, start honing in your style is really awesome. So Daniel, definitely check it out. We'll be doing reviewing the challenge submissions in about 14 minutes. So I don't know, maybe you'll have some time to check that one out. And you can see the challenge by clicking on the tab right above the chat.
So I keep cutting this point where this curve meets this line because I'll want to edit the curve just a little bit.
Right.
And then I'll just
There we
rejoin
go.
them at the joint.
Yep.
I'll select both of them, go Command J, and then it rejoins it for me.
Nice.
In fact, I think I rejoined it with, which one of these is the curve? That's not the curve, so I need to move that up. Right, yeah. Right, did I do that right? Let's see.
Adam Wolf wants to know, who are your favorite designers or design shops currently? Jen, who's inspiring you right now? Right now, I am loving Eric Mortensen. He does, he started 10 by, which is a yearly design challenge where you redesign your 10 favorite albums of the year. And I was lucky enough to get asked to do it. Jen did it too. We've done it the last 2 years. And he's been doing these awesome, just quick little daily illustrations. And I love it. I love making a project like that for myself. For me, I love the NBA. So when I watch the Lakers or anything, I'll do like a little animated GIF or a little illustration about something funny that happened in the game. And that's because eventually I'd love to work for the Lakers. I'm gonna put that out there. Lakers, if you're watching, I'd love to work for you. But so just making things that I'm interested in, and just it also helps me try new styles. So I'm trying to find a different illustration style for myself. I noticed Eric's trying a completely different new illustration style, and I love seeing people do stuff on their own time. Yeah. Who's inspiring you right now?
A lot of illustrators, like Sarah Andreasen, I think is how you say her name. Like, I love everything
What's her
she's
handle?
doing.
Where do you find her?
Sarah Andreasen,
Instagram?
but she's Swedish, so there's extra A's and S's. So
Some
just,
umlauts in there?
Yeah, Google it. But yeah, there's like nice. Dribble's a great place to find, like, I feel like more brand and illustrations type stuff. I look for on Behance for more identity system process, like photography, texture kind of stuff. It's nice. That is a pretty much inspiration zine and online website that has amazing curation of design from all different walks that I love to follow.
My boy Zed James in the chat saying, hashtag Amy Hood for Lakers. Let's get that trending, y'all. Get me on the Lakers roster. Me and AD. Let's trade for me, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. That's all you need.
You need one of those trampolines that you use in the dunk contest.
I may look tall on Adobe Live, but I'm actually only 5'1".
Oh my gosh.
Hi, Design Studio. Hey, Josh Noon, what's up?
Josh
So many
Noon.
good people. Ooh, Sarah Lambrecht. So many great people.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm actually
Alexander
kind
Daly.
of excited with where this is going. Okay, we have some stuff that probably won't work, but I want to keep it just in case, you know?
Yeah.
I might find something for it later.
I always keep everything on the side of my artboards just in case I have to go back to something that I thought didn't work. Because it's amazing if you sleep on it, open up your Adobe Illustrator document the next day, what actually looks good and what looks terrible. What you thought was genius one day, the next day with fresh eyes is the worst.
And like, eventually I'm gonna have to like refine that little curve there and everything, but I'm not gonna go on that today because, I don't know, we're just trying to get rough ideas
Just
out
ideas.
here.
Right.
So once I'm kind of happy with it, like this is great. but-
Alexander Moonire, not to interrupt you really fast, he says, hey girls, can you give me some tips about how to create a logo? You logged in at the perfect time. We're literally doing it right now. So, and if you didn't catch the rest of the live stream, you can catch any of today's live streams later on at behance.net/live replays, and you can catch any of the old streams. There's so many amazing people. Christine Arth, Paul Tranny's doing like little tutorials and stuff. Definitely check it out. I've checked out a bunch of them. I'm gonna watch Andrew Hockrattles tonight to figure out how he does those amazing textures. Tell me all your secrets. So Jen, you're working on changing the widths.
Yeah, I realized that I kind of messed up this.
Did you outline it too soon?
I think
I hate when I do that.
So
I usually try to option drag the letter form in its stroke format before I outline, so that I always have something to go back to in case.
right, which I did. I had it
on.
on the bottom, luckily. But yeah. But if you think about it, like, look, we're making a font, right? Well, we're not making a font. We're adjusting a font, but you can totally change fonts or make your own by just making a bunch of shapes and putting them together.
Yeah. Do you do that a lot? I do.
Yeah.
I know you've been doing it more. Every time I peek over, it seems like you're doing something awesome, and I'm like, what? Jen knows how to make her own font? That's cool. Yeah, I like where this is going. And you're just using the Pathfinder tool, right? You're just subtracting areas, adding things.
Yeah, making a little more space. Like for now, I'm just adding a quick stroke
That
to
looks
see
really,
if that.
yeah, at least the curve follows nicely.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit too light now, but you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have that idea.
I feel like on that one, if you continued it, it'd be cool if the V, the left-hand arm of the V, curved up and went over the E.
Right, that could make
Because it's like a nice little
symbol
nice
just within
and
the
it's
mark.
symmetrical, right? It feels kind of balanced, kind of even. Because right now it feels a little bottom heavy.
Yeah, so I mean, we can even, and when we show people the logo mark options, like we don't just show them the main mark, which would be their like, you know, we show them like all the different ways that it would work together. Like in my mind, you don't just need the horizontal, you need a stacked version,
Right.
you know, and then there's like, you know, so if we show
Because that
them-
stacked version would look great in the avatar, maybe on Instagram, and then the horizontal would look great on the,
Right.
website.
So like we can show them
Not
that
far.
one, we can show them just the icon, and then like down to even like the favicon, which is only 16 pixels about, you know?
Right.
Or if you're on Retina, it's like 32.
So maybe for the favicon, you take out all the stars, and it's just like the
Exactly.
simple rainbow.
So like for this one, we would just want to get down. That was weird.
Robert Anderson's coming in with the hard questions in chat. He wants to know favorite snack to eat while designing. For
Mallow
me,
cream on graham crackers.
marshmallow cream. We're from Kentucky. Don't blame us for our eating habits. We have maybe poor eating habits. Some would say. We
Some
say
would
they're
say.
great. Some would say. I just like I'm old fashioned. I like a Coca-Cola, maybe some sour cream and onion, glazed potato chips. Wait, sour cream and cheddar. Excuse me.
So you can see like now, because it's so small, we'll want to up the stroke.
Oh, stroke width of it. Yeah, because it's the favicon.
Yeah, for the favicon. So now I'm starting to build out like all the different ways like it could be used. They wanted that bold font, remember, something stark, and
Right.
I don't think this is the right one, but let's just start.
But they
playing
like
around.
the play of the really thick thicks and the really thin thins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think this is the right place to use this. Let's try something else.
And it's funny, people always ask us, they always say, oh, I can't believe you build it out so far, you know, like the favicon and, you know, the seal and the different variations. But to me, that helps me as a designer understand, is this actually going to work? Is it going to scale? Is it going to play in all the arenas that we need it to? So I like to do that work. I'm going to do it anyway to know if I want to present this logo.
Right.
So why not show them, wow, I've thought of every angle, I've thought of every way we could use this and how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, here's the stacked version, and then when they say it's approved, and you have to save it in all the other different variations, and you realize, oh no, it doesn't work. So
Also, here's a tip. You know when you like expand out the tracking a lot, you want it to look kind of like elegant, and you've expanded this out, but then you get this weird little gap here that like throws off when you center things. It actually is putting it a little bit too far to the left.
right.
Because there's this little extra gap between the letter and the ending. Well, if you select that gap and then you decrease the kerning here, you'll see if this hovers.
yeah,
I just decreased it enough to where this little,
I do that too. Game changer.
now it's butted up right against the end. Whereas if I
high and tight.
just did it without that custom tracking, let's see if I can do it again. Now you'll see like it's all there's this extra gap that's gonna throw off all my aligning. So I like to extra go in and
Yeah,
trim that.
that fixed it.
So
Super
that
nice.
fixed it. So now,
Yeah.
and now I can keep it as live text instead of just outlining it and
Right.
to align it properly. So now it's still live text, which is what I want, just in case I need to edit it later.
And I was watching Lauren Dickens live, Adobe Live from a couple months back. Love her, one of my favorite designers.
Yeah, she's
And
incredible.
she said the same thing. She always drag and drop a copy of your text off to the side so you remember what font you used. I can't tell you what, it's such a beginner tip, but I forget it all the time. So
Yeah.
always drag and drop your fonts before outlining them so you can remember which ones you used.
Yeah. So like already I'm seeing a problem here. That T goes kind of low.
Hey, Jess Vandenberg, we've got some Memphis people in the house. What's up?
Oh, it's kind of cool too if maybe the T extends into the...
Prax Cruz says, oh my gosh, that tip was worth it alone. That tip, Jen, that kerning tip was worth this whole Adobe Live.
I did it.
Thanks, Prax.
I solved this. Even like creating a little...
Anna said, it has changed my life. Jen, you're changing lives out here.
Oh my gosh, we're doing it. Put it on my gravestone. Put it on my
I'll
my
carve it
cremation.
into your Eterneva diamond.
Please do that.
Okay.
Change lives daily. So if
All
I
right,
wanna,
we have 4 minutes till the challenge submissions are due. Don't forget.
if I want to type on a path, I'll just create the circle. I should align it first. Let's see, make sure those are all grouped.
Jen, can we change our business to where this is how we do it? You do all the work and I just sit here and drink Coke and narrate.
That would be
This
fun.
is the best.
It is the best. Remember remarkably.
I love that tagline, by the way. Did you come up with that?
Yes.
Oh, love it.
I mean, they said the words. I just put them together.
Right. Again, they did all the hard work in the discovery with us by like giving
Yeah.
us all the ideas, and then we just kind of piecemeal it together in a nice way. It's funny when sometimes you'll hear people complain about clients or this or that, but to me, they are your greatest ally, and if you have to remember that. You have to remember that even when things are tough or maybe they're not understanding your vision, I feel like you have to remember that you're on the same side, you're on the same team, and you've got the same goal, and just remembering to keep that at the forefront. And I feel like that changes the whole client process when you keep that at the forefront.
And like if anyone ever writes you an email back, it's like, oh, I really don't like it. I don't think you understood anything. The first thing I always do when I get a negative email back is I'll call them because
Yeah.
I feel like it's so important for them to know that your visual, your vocal tone is for them.
Right.
It's comforting. Like, hey, don't worry. I know you're kind of panicking. You're
Yeah.
probably a little scared right now. Don't worry. This is not the first time that someone hasn't liked a logo proof at the first round. You're not supposed to love it on the first round. These are ideas. These are
Right.
potentials. We still have 2 rounds of revisions to build,
Tone
hone
it
it in and get
in.
it perfect.
Yeah.
So it's your job to then like calm them down and then get them thinking rationally again. Say, okay, so let's talk about like what you said, why you didn't like it. You
Right.
said you didn't feel it reflected this, this, and this. Well, let me show you why I thought it did, so you can see my mindset. And then you kind of get them on your thinking train. And they say, oh, you're right. That
Right.
I see where you're going, but you know what? What I think I really don't like, and you're talking them through it. I just don't like that it's bold. A lot of times,
It's the simplest thing. Remember, we had this one client, he was like, I hate everything. I hate everything. We had come up with all these concepts, and we're at a loss for words because we're looking at the mood board. It looks like it fits in perfectly. We can't understand. On the next round of revisions, we just show him the proofs, reverse white on black instead of black on white. He's like, see, I love it. That's all I wanted. It was the same logos. We had just reversed them white on black.
so a lot of times you have to just communicate with the client and just dig into not what they're telling you to change, but why they think
Right.
that'll make a difference. Because a lot of times you can better interpret
Right,
what
so-
to change. You
so
just
if
need to
they're
know
saying-
why they want it. that
Right, so if
way.
they're saying, I don't know, I just don't like it, you say, well, what do you think about the font? What do you think about the colors? Start asking them specific questions to get really specific feedback. Okay.
I want to do one option that's a diamond,
Oh, yeah.
but like a play on a diamond.
Right,
She had
not
also
too
mentioned
obvious.
to me, like, you
Bye,
know,
Pablo. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow's stream.
She'd also mentioned to me that it'd be cool to do a seal of some sort, because there's something
love a
that
seal.
feels very like it's etched in stone, you know.
And especially with something like a diamond, like I can see like the gold embossed seal on the packaging or something, like something that shows like this is quality.
Yeah.
You can. What is it about a seal that says quality? I don't know.
I don't know.
But it does. And who are we to buck that tradition?
So I'm just gonna kind of make up a. I have some sketches here. You didn't see it, but I made a bunch of sketches. So,
Oh, we're-
P.S. That's a phase you should do.
Yeah, if we can go to the GoPro, actually, I can show some. Let's see. Okay, so this is Jen's just little sketch card. You can sketch on anything. Airport napkin, Moo notebook, like this beauty. But just get your sketches or your ideas out on paper fast
You
because
can
they
see
are
the bottom
fleeting.
right was that little
bottom right.
rainbow thing.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so ugly, but it doesn't have to be pretty.
Right.
It's just you have to get the idea down before you forget it.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Ever have a logo deconstructed so much by the client that you hate it?
I feel like that can be tough, and I feel like you have to, the biggest thing about design is learning how to correctly push back and when. Obviously your client is, they're a huge ally, like we said, so they know something. They don't know nothing. They've hired you because they know something. They have good taste, they picked you, they have great taste. So I think it's a matter of communicating and saying why certain things are important and why certain things will work. You're the professional, so let them know when something won't work and why. And usually if you have a reasonable reason, if it's not just like, oh no, that just will look stupid. If you can actually explain like, oh, it won't work for A, B, and C, but why don't we try this? Say they wanna use, oh, I wanna use Comic Sans. Maybe they just want something more playful. So maybe offer them an alternate version of Comic Sans. Like, oh, I see, you just don't want it to be so stuffy. Let's try Cooper Black.
And it's interesting, clients, I find, respond really well when I do positive pushback. It's not, because they don't see it as pushback. I'm not saying, no, you can't do it. I'm saying, you know what? I like that idea, what if? And then
Right.
I'm
It's a
riffing on
riffing.
it.
Yeah, it's like jazz.
It's improv 101, people.
Yeah.
You never say no, you just redivert
Yes,
them to a
and.
better option. And they want to be guided. They're afraid, and that's why they're hiring you. If you've ever done illustration work and you have these corners that kind of pop out, you can always either pull it in a little bit there using your rounded corners tool, or you can adjust, let's see here, this corner limit. I think if you set it to 1, it'll go away.
And then right after you explain that, we're gonna do the daily challenge submissions. We're gonna review some.
Cool.
Yeah.
So they had said in their discovery deck that they wanted the idea of something bright. That's why I had done this sun before that was also kind of looked like the top of a jewel face. I'm gonna use these lines again, but in a different way. A lot of times when I'm showing people concepts, there's a lot of similar like inspirations, but they're just executed slightly differently. I kind of trimmed them oddly. I might have to make them over. You know what? I just need these two. They also have this path extension. Like it knows where you're extending to when you have your smart guides on. It doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. Okay, so I kind of want to, and sometimes I'll roughly edit these. And I'll like put clipping masks on and stuff before I'm 100% final, and then I'll outline
Right,
and like,
and then
you know
clean
what I
it
mean?
up. Right.
Yeah, but like for now I might just even just do this to like, you know, make
Yeah.
an edge.
Right.
Like,
Just so you can kind of see if it's gonna work or not.
right. So,
Jessie Leslie says that the little takeouts are great. Kerning's corners, Kenya is enjoying it.
oh, good, yay. Hello to
Jessie.
Kenya. P.S. If you ever wanted to round a corner and round every corner on your piece exactly the same, if you select it all, I wanna
With your
go in-
white selection tool,
yeah.
right?
And then if you go click A to get your white selection tool, that's when you start seeing this little rounded corner option. And if you drag it while everything is selected, it'll drag every single corner the exact same way.
Which is kind of cool because if you want that kind of like vintage vibe, maybe like something not so harsh, not so angular,
Yeah.
it kind of adds a nice look.
So again, you select everything with your black selection tool,
Yeah.
and then you click A, and that activates your direct selection tool. Then you see these little teeny circles, and then you can pull them to kind of like
Right.
adjust your corners. Now, if you've adjusted all your corners, and you're like, oh, I want to change them all. Look up here. It says corners, and there's this little radius thing. You can choose it from here too, and
So
if they're all
handy.
selected. Now, if you notice, some of them actually seem more rounded than others.
Yeah, sometimes I go in it
so
and
yeah,
just
you can pick
manually adjust them.
Right, like I
Yeah.
could pick only these two if I wanted. It only adjusts those corners to be more or less. Yeah.
So Jen, let's take a look at these daily creative challenge submissions. They're awesome. So the challenge was to create a winter themed piece in Photoshop using the blend modes. And look at these cool things that we've got. Okay, so let's take a look at a few. All right, so let's open this one. Okay, this one's from Cindy Fang.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like it. I like the bitmap look, and I like the blues and the yellows. Oh, this is kind of cool, this little transparency thing
Yeah,
that's going on
she's
down
changed
here.
her like overlay mode to like hit that teal in the middle.
Right, it's like overlay, yeah.
Interesting.
Let's take a look at some more.
Okay, go back to the main ones. Let's see. I want to see that one.
Oh,
wow.
whoa, this one's completely different. Oh wow, this one's Bilal Silla, and they've illustrated their own little dude. Wow, that's awesome. The illustration is really awesome. So nice. Let's look at this one. Ooh, I like the colors on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's really unique. Rare Summit. Yeah, I like that really fuchsia pink, like pinky purple kind
Yeah.
of thing going on.
It's hard when you're using those transparency modes to find the right colors where when they overlay, they
Right.
actually make something unique. But this like
Right, something
subtle
looks nice.
orange is really cool.
And they did
when
a
you-
color halftone, which is kind of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That's fun. And that was Hall's Mao. All right, let's look at a few more. Let's look at, oh, actually, I really love this one.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I want to be there.
Oh my goodness, with a coffee mug?
Yeah, and it's
That's an
interesting. It's so
spin.
subtle, the color overlay
Yeah.
there, and then on the far
But
right.
it blends really nicely, and I like how you can see the mountains through the sun, through this little like circular sun.
Totally.
That's really nice.
All the colors are really cohesive. Like she's
Yeah.
got the brown from the like cappuccino in
Right.
the top there.
Right, it looks like a relaxing retreat, you know,
Yeah.
which is kind
Good
of
job,
fun.
Leslie Higgins.
Leslie Higgins, we like it. All right, let's look at a few. Ooh, this one's unique. This one's very different. I actually really like this one. This reminds me of something that you'd see like, I don't know, I don't want to say
Mammoth
REI.
Mountain.
Oh, Mammoth Mountain, yeah.
Yeah.
Like snowboarding, something like that. But
Definitely has like a counterculture.
yeah, I
edgy
dig
feel.
the textures. Really nice textures. Love the colors. Feels very snowboardy.
Good job, Axel.
Oh, yeah, let's look at the Alex
No,
Zapata.
Axel, which is even cooler.
Axel? Dang.
Alex 2.0.
Very cool.
Sorry,
is
all you
fun.
Alexes, you are also special.
Yeah. Oh, this is awesome. Yeah, and if you didn't get a chance to make this creative challenge, you can still submit to the next one. So make sure to submit to the next one if you didn't get this one.
Yeah.
So this one's Chris Wilson's. I like the like almost like Taco Bell from the 90s color palette. Right?
Totally, which is coming back.
I know, it
Everything is
is.
cyclical.
Mm-hmm. Everything is cyclical.
Yeah.
I love that. That's fun. I like that. And I like how see how the color box like creates this cool kind of like
Yeah,
I
it
don't know,
reverses
the overlay.
out at some
Yeah,
point.
I love that. That looks great.
Wow.
Oh, this one's nice. I like this. It's Phoenix Suns colors here.
Totally.
Yeah, I like that. It's more of like a silhouette kind of thing with some texture.
More illustrative, yeah.
Yeah. Let's look at a.
It's so interesting with the same assets, everyone has done something a little bit, unique and creative. It's super cool.
Yeah. Oh, this one's neat. Oh, I like how it's almost like a king player card.
Yeah.
Like a playing card. It's like there's a reflective thing going on, and I like how the sun, the circular in the background, kind of like highlights the little dude rock climbing.
Totally.
That's kind of cool. I like
Next
that one.
deadline is coming up in 2 hours, PS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are awesome. And Paco, am I right? Are we supposed to choose a winner? Our fave?
No,
Okay. Okay.
that's
They were all our faves.
behind the scenes at the end of the day. So
'Kay.
don't worry about that.
Cool.
Well, there is no winner actually. These are all just reviews.
Okay,
The
cool.
winner's them.
These were amazing. Everyone, you did such a great job. And doing little challenges like this was so huge for us when we first started our career, I would say. Like we said, and using the hashtags and just being a part of a community where you can be found. If you're waiting for the internet to find you just like through Google search, it's so much harder. If you're being active on a community like Behance or like this Adobe Live Creative Challenge, it's gonna be a lot easier for people to find you, find your work, build a community. It's awesome.
Yeah. I call them springboard channels. I don't know if that's a real thing. I made it up. I coined that term. But pretty much if
TM
someone
that.
has to know your name to Google you and find you, it's so much harder than if you're active on Behance, Dribbble, those kinds of shareable sites where art directors are already searching for the kind of work they want. So if an art director went on Behance today and searched snowboarder, vintage retro, they might find your
Yeah.
thing without knowing they had to look for your name
Yeah.
because you have a bunch of work up and bunch of different topics and they found you that way.
Right.
So post your work a lot, post it often.
Post it everywhere. It's not sleazy if you do it right. Don't be pushy.
Also, if you're not sure if your work's ready to post and you're scared, post it to your Instagram story. It's so easy. It's only live for 24 hours. You'll get
Perfect.
feedback, and then you can post it to your, your feed once you're ready.
Yep.
But it's important to let people know and remind them that you're doing design regularly because they forget.
Yeah.
But if you get people in your corner and they want to help you out, they want to refer you to friends. So
Everybody wants to be the person with the hookup.
Yeah.
Also, I'll sometimes post a piece of work and then I'll say work in progress.
Right. That way
it's
if
an
someone-
easy out.
that way critiques you, you're like, yeah, I was working hard.
You're
I was going to do that next.
I was halfway done. That was my next thought. I was gonna get to it. Thank you for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so true.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go
So we are live for about 20 more minutes. We're going to keep working on this project. And just to remind everybody what we're doing, if you came into this segment maybe in the middle, we're working on a logo system with some collateral and brand guidelines for it's a jewel company called Eterneva. And they turn your loved one's ashes into a diamond. Isn't that amazing? It's so unique. It's such an emerging industry. I think there's only 4 people that I know about who are doing it. So it's pretty cool, really cool project, and an amazing client. Today we worked a little bit on the logo. Jen showed us a few things. Tomorrow we'll be working on taking the client's feedback, working that into our second round proofs, and then building out things like business cards and packaging, things like that. And then on the third day, we'll tackle more of the packaging, and we'll be doing like brand guidelines. We'll be working on InDesign, setting up font pairings, type pairings, things like that. It's gonna be a blast. Yeah. Don't forget to tune in live again tomorrow, 11 to 1. It's gonna be awesome.
So I actually want to remove all these corners.
And also, I promised everyone in our email blast, I said, tune in, because we'll be answering the hard questions. And here was one of them. Who was the greatest spurned lover in a Nora Ephron film? So, anyone in chat a fan of Nora Ephron? We're talking Sleepless in Seattle. We're talking You've Got Mail. We're talking, I don't even know because those are the 2 best ones. But okay, my favorite is going to be hands down Every Time Craig Kinnear. I just think he's so funny. He cracks me up as, oh my gosh. He works for the Times. That nut from The Observer. I can't remember. Right. Anyway, I love him. I love him so much I forgot his name. He makes me forget things. Okay, I'm trying to read the chat here. I'm hearing some interesting things. Jason Frostholm is saying some things. He's another part of the Creative South crew. Also, Adobe Live said, if you worked on a challenge, make sure you share your work within a Behance project and use the keyword PS Daily Challenge. And details are on the registration page for that. Oh, Natalie Frank says Julia and Julia. I didn't know that was a Nora Ephron film. I'm learning things. It's a good day.
It's a good day.
Oh, I like where this one's going. So we've got like the circle, which is kind of a symbol of like something lasting forever.
Right.
There's that idea of never ending, cyclical, which is, we're talking about life stages, life and death. And then you've got the diamond in the center. I like this. This one's nice.
Yeah. So again, I'm just playing with stuff. I'm trying to get stuff down in the actual vector format that I've sketched on my little sketch thing here. And then I'll probably clean it up tonight more, and then go through with you all what the client ended up liking and not liking. Nice. So someone had mentioned an infinity symbol. Same, I'm with you. That would be super cool.
I love that idea.
So let me look.
Especially because a lot of the letters lend itself to maybe do that already.
Yeah, totally. So I'm just gonna pull one off so I can have a reference. That's not even a good one, but.
So Chris Cannon, shout out to Chris Cannon.
Hey.
He says, what? No host? Chris Cannon, it's a Home Alone situation. Parents are gone. Gus gave me his key card earlier. We've got the keys to the castle, and
we're definitely booby trapping this place, so beware.
The next hosts have their work cut out.
Okay, let's see.
But yeah, then Jimmy Mitchell says, on the contrary, double host. I'm hosting Jen and Jen's hosting me. Except Jen's doing all the work and I'm just sitting here. So what are you working on? Oh, you're gonna make your. You're making your own infinity symbol.
My infinity symbol.
Ooh, okay.
I can't guarantee this is gonna work out. As with most things, I'm like, just so you all know, we're all wondering, am I doing this right? So if you're feeling that way, I feel that way all the time. But I just think to myself, well, if I just do the best possible and align it as much as I can and use my smart guides, maybe this will all work out.
Tim Mobist, the moderator, said, wait, Gus is gone? Creative Cloud for everyone. That's on Tim. We did not promise that.
Around on
Tim's
the house.
paying for everybody. He's around on the house. Just kidding.
So now I have that.
Cool.
Now
like where it's going. Like where it's going.
To cut it.
Chris Cannon says, looks like Harry Potter glasses. I think that's a positive thing, personally.
No, Chris Cannon, these are Harry Potter glasses. This is Steve Jobs meets Harry Potter. That's why I bought these. I love them.
Does that make the client take you more seriously?
Yes.
Do you dress a certain way when we go do client meetings?
Actually, I've learned that I should, and I do now.
Do you?
Like when we were working with friends and family mostly, like I would like hug
Right.
everyone. It took me a long time to get over hugging clients that I had met for the first time.
Right.
Like they're wearing a business suit, and I'm like, this isn't an opportunity to hug. Don't hug them, handshake. And I can't help it. I'm so used to Baptist churches, and
Yeah.
I've been ruined for
our
life.
upbringing,
I
yeah.
keep hugging people who don't want to be touched.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
I know. It's a lot of stuff that people don't talk about. Like I love Adobe Live because it's so fun to share like the actual hard skills of like how to use the programs and things like that. Tips and tricks, like how to streamline your process. It's amazing. But like the soft skills, that's the stuff that hardly anyone talks about.
Like when do you handshake? And
Right.
When, and
do you
when hug?
handshake? Is it okay to hug? Do you ask? You know, all these things. But anyway, it's kind of fun. It's fun to share horror stories and things like that. But
Okay. I'm getting there.
cool.
Getting there, making my infinity symbol. J. I don't think I connected that at the right spot.
Oh, yeah.
I'll fix it.
Grab that
Don't
anchor
worry.
point. Fix this Bezier's girlfriend.
I'll fix it.
Nathan Gregory's in the chat. Oh my gosh.
So Nathan Gregory we had this crew that we ran with when we were 14, 15, 16. We were the best friends that there ever were. Nathan Gregory, you, Kyle Morrison, Matt Wilson were my best friends that I'll ever have my whole entire life probably. But anyway, we had some fun. Anyway, Nathan Gregory asked, do you guys ever design with motion graphics in mind? I always do, especially with logos, and especially if it's a client that lives mainly on the internet. Like, for example, this client, they do all the interaction. It's either within the packaging that's sent to them to their door, or it's on this website. So there has to be a lot of fun interaction. It has to really grab people and it has to really tell a story. So whenever I design a logo, I always think, how could this be animated? How could this live? How could this be more than just something static? So we work with a lot of awesome animators because I don't know how to use those programs yet, but I definitely want to take Devin Coe's class, 3D. Is it 3D animators?
Well, that's for Cinema 4D. You would
Is
need
it?
something for like Premiere Pro.
See, this is how little I know about this.
After Effects and stuff.
Right, so After Effects. I've delved a little bit into After Effects, but mostly if I make animated GIFs or something, I'm just doing timeline in Photoshop. I do it the old school way. But yeah, that's why it's great to have friends. It's great to have friends who have tertiary skills. Is that right? Tertiary?
Tangential.
Tangential skills. And it's really nice to have friends like that because you can say, hey, would you like to trade services, maybe barter some if you're new or starting out, or just flat out pay your friends. Definitely pay your friends. But we're doing a trade right now with our friend Zach. Zach Wilkinson, shout out. He's doing some animation for us for a really cool video, and then we're gonna do some logo work for him. It's fun. I love working with friends. There's so much pressure taken
So
off.
something like that, which I will fix later, I promise you. But
But yeah, we get the idea.
yeah. And I'm thinking what could be cool would be to
Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that.
Okay, you gotta match the stroke widths. It's
Yeah,
making me
for
crazy
sure.
already. I'm already losing it.
I'm gonna eye drop the stroke.
Oh my gosh, Tim Mobus said, did you know that? Did you know that? Bill Nye reference. Cinema 4D Lite comes with After Effects.
Yes, that's what I've been taking the class in. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, are you taking Devin Coe's class?
Yeah, it's
Nice.
amazing. I love it.
This is how little we know about each other. People think we like live in the same room, share bunk beds. We're not as weird and creepy as we seem.
But I'm
Hey, Osama. Welcome to the chat. Julie McBoyce. Julie worked with us. She was one of our first employees at Hoodzpah, and we had a blast. We seriously had a blast. Those were some of the golden days. It was us, Julie, Arturo Jimenez, just like sitting in our living room. It was fun. It was fun.
Where did my shapes go?
Chris Cannon says, is it going to be a hip-hop video where Jen is rapping and Amy is dancing? You don't want to see me dance. Actually, Jen should dance. Jen's a much better dancer. I don't know. I'm not a good dancer.
But yeah, pretty much when I'm working on logos, I'm just trying a bunch of stuff. I'm not like...
I like that. I like the kind of mix of the negative space.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what I'm thinking is like, this could be like the diamond, but it's kind of like negative, since it's negative space, it's the absence of the physical. It's kind of the idea of someone's gone, but they're in the diamond shape, but they're in this infinity.
I like the story within that.
Yeah, there's a story there, but I need to get all these alignments proper, and
And I feel like
didn't
it
do
almost, there needs to be more negative space, like that white circle needs to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, so I
the
definitely
thickness
will
is a little
fix
bit
that
thicker.
when I get off air and before we talk tomorrow, everybody, I promise you.
Yep.
But yeah, you can see we're starting to get like a good smattering of things.
Yeah.
So what
Ooh.
I'll do is after today, I'll go away, refine it all, and then start putting it into our proof deck, and then I'm gonna.
And that's what we'll do tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're gonna send the proof deck we would clean this up way more. In fact, I can show you an example of a proof deck.
Oh, that'd be
so
great.
you can kind of get an idea. Let's see, what have we done recently that we're allowed to show? Let's see.
Oh. No, not Pacific Gold. Maybe. Oh, Samson?
I don't think I can show that yet.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Okay, Red Bull. We're allowed to show Red
Ooh,
Bull
yeah,
Road
let's do
Trip.
Red Bull.
Okay, so here's an example of like a proof deck, if I can find the archive where we used to do them. There we go. So there's round 1. So you can see it's the exact same, like I'm using the same decks, I'm just saving as, like
See,
I'm
that's the
saving
glory
myself
of-
time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You make a process for yourself and you follow it.
Exactly.
I'm big on processes.
Yeah. So I'll put in, logo round 1. I've used applicable photography for this one. We were doing a logo for a Red Bull event where an F1 car drove all the way across America. How
So
uncomfortable
cool.
would that be? But also, like, it has no traction.
It'd be so cool.
Yeah. Anyways, it was amazing. The videos turned out stunning. It was so fun to work with them.
Such a fun project.
Yeah. But anyways, for everyone who just saw my phone number, don't call me. I can't believe I just showed everyone that.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, so you can see, like, we'll start out
Love
with,
this.
I
I did that one.
our main options. We'll kind
So
of
good.
mock it up roughly, show them, orientations, secondary marks and badges, because that was part of the scope that we included for that one. Extra marks and treatments to show them, like even for this one, Nathan was saying, do you think about motion? Like already we're kind of showing the idea of motion, like
How this could pop out of the
into
screen.
frame.
Yeah.
Those could kind of like come in kind of like Ocean's 11 style. You can kind of see I'm just kind of showing the idea of interstitial graphics, like he was saying.
Right.
And then we just mock it up on a lot of things so they can see the potential for it. So
Because a lot of times it's hard for a client to imagine how something's going to live. Mock-ups are amazing when you send a proof deck. Definitely use mock-ups. You can find them on Adobe stock, I believe.
Yeah.
And just showing them how it will actually live in a real scenario really helps sell, really helps your case.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Let's see if anything else.
Kevin Green said, "This is so cool." Thanks, Kevin Green. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Adam Wolf says, "Time to get a new number."
Yeah, that one's over. Whoops. Yeah.
Send Jen your favorite cat gifs.
Anyways, yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I mean, we're almost out of time because we're done at 1 o'clock. But yeah, I think let's open up our InDesign. 12:55. Oh, 12:55. Okay, we have 5 minutes.
5 minutes,
I would
yes.
open the InDesign though and just kind of show a little bit of how we start placing things into the proof deck.
Okay.
The proof deck is everything. Like we said, if you're not showing a client how it can actually live in like a real tangible item. Thank you, Jen, for being my brain. It's really hard for them to imagine this logo. It's kind of it's just floating in the ether. You're just like, here it is on white, take it or leave it. So I think it's really important to give context to the client and help them out as much as you can. It does a lot of the selling for you so that you don't have to be spending an hour on the phone saying, but think about what if it was this? What if it was this?
Right.
You can actually show them, hey, look.
And the easy thing about working from my discovery document is now all I have to do is just change this to logo.
Yep.
Or logo round 1. Everything there. I like to remind them of the goal,
Always.
everything. So I'm going to include this again so that I walk them through it and set their mind again in the right state. But then I'm going to I'm going to keep in the mood board too, because I think for the first proof, I really want them to have like all
To
that
remember what
information.
everyone agreed on.
Exactly, because then I can tie my design decisions back to these things. So when I send a logo proof too, by the way, I never just, specifically the first one, I'm never just going to send it in an email and hope they read it. They will not read
They
the
won't read
proof.
anything.
They will not read your notes. They'll not read any of the caveats.
It's not their fault, they're busy.
They're busy and they're excited. They just want to jump ahead. So what I do is I'll call them on the phone,
have to
schedule
play mom.
a video chat, and the minute we're on the video chat, then I email them the proof. That way they don't have time to look at it before I walk them through it.
Yep.
And actually, I don't even email them the proof. I email them the video chat link, and I go through the proof with them by sharing my screen. I'm pacing them. I'm forcing them to hear my story, hear my
Right.
rationale, and I'm setting the tone with them before they can get their heads together and complain about it on their own. Not like they're bad people, but it's your first instinct to criticize something unless you've been prepped on why it's exciting. So I go through it with them on the video chat, I share my screen, and then I send it to them immediately after, and then they can go away, sit on it, think about it, and then do their, send us back their revisions in a few days.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Jen, you're so smart. Okay, so we only have a few minutes left, so definitely tune in for us tomorrow. Next is going to be Christina Cox and Amelia Waliani. Gosh, I hope I said that right. But we met Christina out in the hallway. She's awesome, so sweet. Apparently, rumor is she can do anything. I'm really excited to watch her live stream. She works here at Adobe, so she knows all. She knows all. It's going to be great. And it's Graphic Design Week, so I'm really excited to see what she does. But thank you everyone for tuning in from all over the world. We had so much fun. Parents were out. It was fun being hostless. Join us again tomorrow. It's going to be great. We're going to be doing more logo work, brand guidelines, collateral, packaging. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so fun. In the meantime, if you have any restaurant recommendations for San Francisco, send them. And also, thanks Ashley Armstrong. Thanks to everyone in the chat. She says, so helpful hearing how you go through your process and why. We love that. We love sharing our process. If there was anything we didn't answer, feel free to tweet at us. We're at Hoodzpah Design on Instagram, Twitter, all the things.
And Twitter is such an easier place to ask questions because there's so much less interaction. Like on Instagram, if we post something, there might be 1,500 likes and like comments and it gets lost in the notifications.
And it's just like fire emojis and stuff.
Yeah, whereas on Twitter, if we post something, maybe 3 people respond and maybe 20 people like it. The barrier for entry for everyone, all your heroes on Twitter is so much lower. Talk to them on Twitter.
Eric Marinovich talks to me on Twitter. Anyways, we're about to wrap down. Anyway, but yeah. It's awesome. So yeah, definitely reach out to us. And if you liked that proof deck that we showed you guys and gals, it's on our website, hoodzpahdesign.com. It's a great way to streamline your process. If you love InDesign, which we do, you should definitely grab it.
There's also a Keynote version.
And there's also a Keynote version. Yes. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with us today. And we'll catch you on the gram, right? We're doing it for the gram, let's be honest. And thanks, Tim.
accident.